On this episode of Tastecast, we discuss game releases for December. The last month of 2021 is already here, and we got a lot to say on the games coming out. We also discuss our impressions of the Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker expansion that just came out. I talk about Icarus, the new survival game by Dean Hall, and the guy who made DayZ, and talk about my thoughts on Battlefield 2042 versus Halo Infinite versus Call of Duty Vanguard, so stay tuned for that. And then we watch Sons of the Forest gameplay, Gran Turismo 7 Deep Forest gameplay, and Horizon Forbidden West new gameplay. And then, of course, read your comments and reply to them. Before we get into that, make sure to download and play Godfall, Mortal Shell, Lego, DC, Supervillains, all offer for free on PlayStation Plus. Make sure to download those, play those, come back at the end of the month for Plus Club, where we will be discussing those games and grading them. And our game of the month, randomly picked the last game of the month of the year, Guilty Gear Strive. We will be playing a fighting game and reviewing it at the end of the month as well, so make sure to come back for that. And yeah, we have Discord link down below. You can talk to us anytime, all the time. We're on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast platforms if you prefer to listen to us to this. And we have a Patreon. If you'd like to support this channel, more than liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing. If you're brand new, all right, let's get into this lengthy Tasty Cast. What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 154 of the Tasty Cast, a weekly podcast where we talk about random things in gaming. My name's Seth, and joining me today is Chevy. Chevy, how you doing? But also, we'll get into Endwalker, I'm sure. I was going to say, how's Endwalker going? But new PlayStation Plus games. I haven't gotten your thoughts on those. We talked about a little bit, but we got Godfall, Mortal Shell, and Lego DC Supervillains. What are you thinking about those games?
Not a lot.
Nothing?
No, not really. Yeah, I don't really have an interest in any of them. So
we got Godfall, cooperative melee Borderlands-esque game. I've actually finished this game on PC, so it'll be interesting to see how it is on PlayStation. This is not going to be the full version, though, and I don't know what that means. They came out and said this is like Champion Edition or something like that, and they said you don't get all the content, but you get the multiplayer, which confuses me because the multiplayer is the campaign when I played it. There is an end game, so I don't know if they just beeline you to the end game, so I don't know how that works. Let me know in the comments if you know what's up with that, but I think it's kind of lame that we're not getting the full version. The game's been out for a year, and at this point, if they're not getting new sales, I think it's time to just give it away, because then people can maybe buy DLC or something.
Well, I mean, if you're going to put it on there anyways,
yeah,
like, what's the point?
Yeah.
Other than, like, maybe enticing someone to buy the full version, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of weird, but yeah, I've played it, and I am definitely interested in trying it with more than one other person, because I played it with one other person, it was fun, but I'd like to see what it's like with a full group. I think it's only 3-player. It's one of those games, but I don't remember very well. And then Mortal Shell, Soulsborne-esque game. I played the demo of it back in the day, but way back in the day, dude, like fucking 50 years ago. And it was an interesting premise, but I kept having this overall thought of, like, why? Like, it plays like Dark Souls kind of, but then, like, you can, like, harden your body as a shield, and I'm like, I don't get it. So maybe playing it, I'll get it, and then we'll talk about that. And then Lego DC Supervillains, you're not too stoked on that? I feel like you like the Lego games, or not love them, but I thought you liked them.
They're fine.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I'm excited to play it.
Sure. I am not, admittedly, the biggest Lego fan. I think the games are kind of mind-numbing typically. Not in a negative way. Just for me, it's like you're pressing one button and just kind of jump around. But this is a newer one, so maybe they've come a long way. So I'm excited to find out.
Yeah, it'll probably be the... I hate to say this. I'm more positive about that than the other two games.
Yeah, well, that's what I was kind of... pointing at. I figured that would be the one out of the three that you might be a little more interested in. But doing good?
Yeah, doing good.
Sick. That's what I like to hear. So we got a lot to talk about today. We got game releases, what we've been playing. My list is fucking gigantic, so we'll get to that. I actually took a couple games off because I'm like, we don't need to talk about these. And then we got a bunch of videos to watch and some comments. So let's jump into game releases first, unless you have anything to say. Oh, quick reminder, we will be doing the Game Awards, reacting to it this Thursday, but because we work, we'll be getting home later, and it'll probably be around midnight. We will be streaming it, so join us here or over on Twitch at Tasty Senpai, and links down below. And join us for that. And please, no spoilers. Our community, you guys are really good about that, but sometimes someone will come in like 10 minutes into the stream and be like, hey, what do you guys think about this being game of the year? And I'm like, well, that's fucking cool. Thanks, dude. So don't be that guy, because it's just lame. But it's going to be a good time. Always excited for the Game Awards. Apparently there's going to be like, Jeff Keighley said there's going to be like 5 Elden Ring sized trailers they're going to be showing. Like in hype.
I'll believe that when I see it.
Yeah, we'll see. He makes every event sound like it's gonna be the biggest and best thing ever, and he does a good job typically. But
he also is very excited when he brings celebrities on, and the rest of us are kind of like, whatever.
Yeah,
man.
sometimes they'll bring on certain people. I'm like, I don't give a fuck about that person.
Yeah.
He's like, oh my god, they're here. But he's got to sell the thing. So
for sure. It's his baby.
Also, last thing before we jump into game releases, because it's the first Tastecast of the month for us. Player's Voice Award, where I believe it is just people's votes that dictate the winner. A lot of people think the whole Game Awards is that. It's not. It Takes Two is in the lead.
I saw that.
Deathloop is at the bottom. Well, no. Fortnite was under it, which I thought was funny.
When it first started, I do believe It Takes Two was not even in the top 5 initially. So it is nice to see that it went to the top.
Surprisingly for me, and everybody keeps asking, like, why are you surprised by that? So I guess I'm just crazy. Resident Evil Village was number 1 for a second. And I'm like, that's sick, 'cause I loved that game.
Yeah.
But then I saw It Takes Two, and I was like, I almost want that to win. I want that to win everything. How wild would that be? For, just like this, like, it's a really neat game, winning everything. But the Player's Voice, like, that is, our vote.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's funny too because like every streamer that I follow has played that game at this point, and all have enjoyed it. And then a couple of them they didn't play A Way Out, and they played that right afterwards too. So
yeah. Joseph Ferris makes we talked about it before, but deciding to do those hard 2-player co-op games, no excuses, but giving out codes for people to be able to play with you if they don't have it. Not a whole lot of people are doing that, so I really appreciate what he's doing. And It Takes Two took all the cool little interactive things they did with A Way Out and really went crazy with it, which I really, really liked. But I just wanted to bring that up. I thought it was really interesting because we're seeing Deathloop in every category, and the whole games industry has just been talking up Deathloop, and it's fine. But like then you see what people are actually voting for, and it's like Resident Evil Village, It Takes Two, and Halo, which a lot of people are angry about.
I saw there was a handful of people.
And I get it. I get it because they're like, isn't it in beta? Like, you guys are voting for a game in beta. And then somebody, I kind of think to a good point of theirs, they're like, well, why isn't Elden Ring's network test like allowed to be on here if the beta for the multiplayer component of Halo is on here? I think it is kind of a loose comparison, but at the same time, I get where they're coming from. Like, but at the same time, Halo's multiplayer is really good too. So.
Even though it's not officially out.
Yeah. And the progression's awful. But we'll get into that. I got a lot to say about that. But yeah, anyway, this Thursday around midnight-ish on Twitch and YouTube, we will be streaming. So make sure to join us then. Anything else? All right. So we're going to jump into game releases for December. Guys, it's fucking December already.
Yeah.
Where'd the year go? And this is the last month of 2021. So these are the games, the last of 2021, coming out this year.
Storm.
Yeah. 2022 is going to be fucking wild. You guys better get whatever games you're like, oh, I need to get to playing that. Play it now, because you're not going to have time to play it next year. With that said, I'm going to go through this. We're going to talk about our hype for these games. So In December, we have Wreckfest coming out on Stadia. That's still a thing on December 1st. Dauntless is coming out on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series on December 2nd. Fights in Tight Spaces. I almost bought that the other day. Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, and PC December 2nd. Solar Ash, PS5, PS4, and PC December 2nd. Chorus, PS5, Xbox Series, Xbox One, Stadia, PC December 3rd. Danganronpa Decadence, Switch, December 3rd. And Danganronpa S, Ultimate Summer Camp
That's a
on
beloved series.
Switch, December 3rd. This is where the dislikes are going to come in at. Anytime I talk about something that has a fan base, people are like, fuck you.
Not that you guys get to see him
Yeah,
anymore.
you guys don't get to see them anymore, so have fun with that. Then we got Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker, came out on PS5,
Today.
PS4, PC, Mac on December 7th. Gang Beasts, odd, came out on Switch December 7th. Heavenly Bodies, PS5, PS4, PC, December 7th. Life is Strange, True Colors, interesting, that's coming out on Switch, December 7th, so it's out now. Spellforce 3 Reforced, PS5, Xbox Series, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC, December 7th. December 7th is just the day. I'll talk about it in a sec. White Shadows, PS5, Xbox Series, PC, December 7th. Then, holy shit, December 8th, we get Halo Infinite, campaign, Xbox Series XS, Xbox One, and PC. Again, December 8th. And then Loop Hero on Switch, December 9th. Monster Rancher 1 and 2 DX on Switch, PC, and iOS. That's interesting. December 9th. Witchwood on PS5, Xbox Series, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC, December 9th. And then Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon, PS4, Switch, PC on December 13th. Among Us is coming out PS5, Xbox Series, PS4, and Xbox One, December 14th. When is that? It's not out on there already?
I could have swore it was on PlayStation already.
Huh, well, take it up with Game Informer. That's what we're reading this off of. The Smurfs Mission Villeaf Smurftastic Edition.
Oof.
PS5, December 14th. Alien Isolation. I was like, what? The Smurfs? I'm reading something about the Smurfs. Alien Isolation coming out on iOS and Android December 16th. That's interesting. Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach on PS5, PS4, and PC December 16th. And last but not least, The Gunk on Xbox Series. Is that the end of the list? This is all to be announced. Interesting. The Gunk on Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, and PC December 16th. So apparently everybody's just given up after the 16th. Nobody's releasing anything after that, according to Game Informer. Chevy, what games are calling to you? What game did you already buy? And and are already playing, and everything else.
Yeah, so already bought Endwalker, but I bought that a while ago. And it is in its head start right now, or early access or whatever. Actually, as of recording this, it's actually officially released now. I'm curious about Halo Infinite's campaign, but I am definitely going to wait.
Have you seen it's getting like 9s and 10s?
Sure, from publications.
I agree.
Yeah.
Just the aggregates.
Yeah, for sure.
To that point, too, as well, so, one of those sites posted that they gave it a 9, and somebody posted that they gave Halo Guardians a 9 as well. So they're saying, like, well, it doesn't really matter. You're giving it that. Actually gave the last game that. And,
yeah, well, the big thing with it, obviously, is it's Microsoft's big game.
Yeah.
How much of that review is, hey, please let me keep reviewing your games? So
yeah, just like a Nintendo game. You're not going to say this game sucks, especially if it's like,
for sure. And I doubt it's going to be like bad, but it might just be meh. And I don't necessarily want to spend 60 on meh.
There's a couple smaller, big YouTubers that reviewed it, and one of them said it's one of the best FPS campaigns they played in 20 years.
And that's great to hear.
They said the last great FPS campaign was Doom 2016, and they're saying this is the next one. So I thought it was really interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would totally look forward to playing. I can't remember the last time I played a single player shooter campaign. So
yeah, and then co-op's going to be coming out like later in 2022, which I fucking hate.
yeah, it's dumb.
Yeah.
I already own Loop Hero on PC, but if you have a Switch, I love that game.
That'd be, dude. As soon as I played, I keep dipping into the games I played already, but as soon as I played Loop Hero, I'm like, is this on phone? Because I'm like, I'd love to have this with me at all times.
Yeah, it's real easy to just kind of lose time to. So, I am also interested in picking up Monster Rancher 1 and 2. I love the originals. I don't know how much that love may have came to 2021. So I'm looking forward to see if they're, first off, if they made them well enough that they run fine. And if people receive them well, I'll probably pick them up on PC.
It's so weird because like that was like Pokemon before Pokemon, way back on PlayStation. But well, maybe it came out. I don't remember. But how are they doing the making monsters in it?
Well, I'm sure they had to figure something out for that.
I mean, of course they did. I'm curious on how they did it.
The Game Boy or DS versions, you put words in.
Oh, interesting.
So, and then that's it.
Fair, yeah. It gets kind of weird at the end of that list. I mean, shout out to Wreckfest. That's a cool game, but on Stadia, dude, what the fuck? And
Who cares?
Glad Dauntless is coming out to things. I'm wondering where they're at right now. Let's see. Well, I wish I could be excited for Endwalker, but I'm not caught up. But I'm stoked to be hearing everybody saying they're really enjoying it so far. But wow, this is kind of weird for me. I mean, that's kind of great because I'm trying to finish out some games right now before the end of the year. Spellforce 3 Reforced, that's really interesting to see it on console. I bought that on PC because I read the description of it. I was like, that sounds like a dope ass game. Haven't played it, but I bought it a while back. So I want to play at some point, but I'm not going to pick it up here. Halo Infinite, I definitely will be buying. I should probably buy right now. I do want to play it. My big problem is no co-op. Like, I'm not against playing a Halo single player, but I've always really enjoyed playing them cooperatively, and that's been a staple since the beginning. So it's kind of wild that they're like, yeah, we're going to add it, but it's going to come later. But, having played the multiplayer, it plays great. So that campaign is going to play the same way, and it's going to be open world. Going to be very interesting. Going to be a fun playground. I watched a video of a guy shooting a vehicle with a rocket launcher and grappling hooking to it, and then it launched him into the sky, and he was just flying for a good 2 minutes, just in the sky, and he landed on top of a tower and just looked around. I'm like, okay, apparently you can do that. Loop Hero is so simply fun that I would humor buying it on Switch if I was willing to take my Switch places. Monster Rancher, I keep wanting to say Monster Hunter. Anytime I see the word monster, I'm like, Hunter. 1 and 2 DX, I'm very curious about. And only iOS. What the fuck is that? It looks so good on my big screen. I'm curious. If it's cool, I mean, I got deep nostalgia for Monster Rancher. We played it when we were younger on PlayStation. So putting in fucking all sorts of CDs to get monsters that really is old school. So definitely curious about how they do that. But I can see it coming out and not being that great too. Just let's throw it out there. So
for sure,
hoping it's not that. I'm curious about Alien Isolation on phone. I wonder how that plays.
I mean, phones are pretty beefy now.
Yeah. And I just get I'm more and more amazed with what games they can put on phones, like full console games. They're not even that old on a phone now. It's fucking crazy. Five Nights at Freddy's I'm curious about, but I've never been a big fan of the series. This is the most dead month for me ever. This is fucking wild. Halo Infinite's like the big game. That's it. And then I need to look into the gunk, but that's something I'm slightly interested in. So far, the only game for sure I'm picking up is Halo Infinite, which is kind of crazy. Solar Ash looked kind of interesting, but at the same time, looked like one of those games that we're gonna get on PlayStation Plus eventually. So I probably won't pick it up. And that's my thoughts on that. Anything else you want to throw in there? That was quick and easy. Let us know in the comments what games are you excited for or are already playing in December. Anything that's not on this list, not mentioned, that you'd like to throw in there, something you're excited for. And are you excited for 2022, where all the games we were supposed to get this year and last year are all apparently being released. So Yeah, it's gonna be a shit show. But I'm excited. Let us know everything you're thinking about in the comments below. All right, let's jump into what we've been playing. Your list is significantly shorter than mine, although you might have quite a bit to say on Endwalker. So how about you start us off with your games?
Yeah, so I didn't play a whole lot in the last week. I mostly was playing Pokemon Diamond. What's the whole name? It's Brilliant, Shining Pearl, Brilliant Diamond. I picked up Diamond, and I found out real quickly that a lot of people did because when I was trying to do trades for version specific ones, I kept getting trade offers for the same exact one I was trying to get rid of. So yeah, the only thing I really have to say about it, to be honest, is that first off, it is interesting to play that old Pokemon game again, especially with a lot of the philosophies that they no longer use, and probably for good reason. There are a lot of different moves for getting around the environment that they've kind of just were like, yeah, it's too much, and they've simplified over time. I do think that part is better in newer games. I think it's a little silly having a rock climb move, a waterfall climbing move, a swimming move, a flying
It's too
move, a
much.
strength move, a bush cutting move. Like there's a shit ton. So
Yeah.
versus the newer ones, it's like 4 or 5 moves. So
It's not quite the same, but it's like the original Crisis had like abilities, but you had to activate one at a time, and it just felt so fucking encumbered. Like I was like, oh, I gotta switch to ultimate strength. Like it's just an older gameplay philosophy where like newer games, it's way more streamlined.
Yeah.
That kind of sounds like that in the sense that like back then they're probably like, wouldn't it be cool if you needed a tool to go through this? It's like a sense of progression. Like, oh, I got this, I can finally go through this.
Yeah.
It almost has like a Metroid feeling to it. Like you couldn't go here, now you can.
well, and it's funny because it does work in like a Metroid or a third-person action adventure game.
That
as
has
well.
kind of like a environmental puzzle feel.
Yeah. Versus like in a role-playing game, it's so systematic already that it does just kind of like slow you down.
Yeah,
much
it's
all
like a
doing.
slog, the experience.
Yeah. But other than that, I mean, I'm having fun with it. I forgot how much harder old Pokemon games are compared to newer ones. They've definitely made them a lot easier as time has gone by. And it makes sense. They're supposed to be for all ages. So
Yeah, the older ones are like legit RPGs.
yeah.
I mean, they all technically are, but I mean, like, they were difficult or
Yeah.
could be.
I mean, I was talking with a couple people in Discord, even I think it was yesterday, about like going through the Elite Four and then the I guess it'd be the Pokemon Champion or whatever. And I can't remember the last time like I didn't just walk through a Pokemon game, and I've had to retry the Elite Four 3 times now, so it's pretty rough. But I kind of appreciate it because I'm not just like steamrolling the whole game. So
Yeah, I do like getting checked every once in a while in a game like that because it's so easy for me to grind in an area for a little bit and then like I go and kill things and just fly through it, and I'm having fun in the sense that I'm like destroying shit, but like I have more fun when I have to go like, oh wait, I have to figure this out. I gotta actually make a strategy and fall through with it. And so yeah, I do appreciate that as well.
for sure. And then yeah, I think early next year they're adding the bank support so that you can transfer Pokemon between games and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to doing that so I can actually make some more progress towards my national decks. So for any of you who might not know what that is, that's essentially collecting them all. So yeah, that's pretty much it there. I need to beat that. I talked about it so much that I did get a community member to finally decide to buy it. So I might have someone to do some trading with here soon, though I think he bought the same version I have, so might have been a bust.
Big mistake. That's not what you do.
Yeah, so the big one that I've been playing for the last couple of days is Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker. Finally came out. And as most people knew, but some people seem to act like this is some big crazy thing. The servers are very, very full. We've kind of talked about it a little bit on the channel before. The servers were full before the expansion came out, and that was with people taking breaks and no content in the game. So new content, so all the people who just joined are still trying to play, and then all the people who took a break came back. And it has led to a lot of disconnects and multi-hour waits to log into the game, which it seems like for the most part, most people are pretty understanding about, and Square is giving out free game time for the inconvenience. So they're trying to make it right. They can't buy hardware due to hardware shortages in the world. So we're just kind of stuck in this until a solution presents itself. So
Got to make it work.
yeah. So outside of the technical hurdles, right off the bat, I'm just blown away by the amount of dialogue in this expansion. They already said that the game was going to be 30% bigger than the last expansion, and holy crap is it. There's so much spoken dialogue. The voice acting is so good so far. And even in the slow moments where characters are just like hanging out, like in between like big moments, and they're just like chit-chatting, it's entertaining. The writing is just so good. So I already love the writing from the last expansion. It's the same people in charge for this one. So
Has it not been for every expansion?
well, they have a team obviously, but whoever's in charge
Yeah.
has shifted.
Well, that's
So-
good though. If like the last one was well received, it sounds like they all have been. But like carrying over into a finale, it's good. You would have the same person carrying that momentum.
Yes, they were, I think, lead writer for Shadowbringers, and then they, I could have this wrong, and feel free to correct me if I do have it wrong, but I do believe they were put in charge of the entire story in the regards of like even like when other people write stuff, she had to okay it. So, I think it has definitely. She showed her talent before, and she's showing it again. So, and the whole team. It's not just her, obviously. So, the music is awesome. That's always a Final Fantasy thing. The tone this time is a lot of like ambient or like lo-fi style music. And I've been absolutely in love with it. Like I could fall asleep to the soundtrack. It is really good.
So it's real good to play that game to that music when you're just getting home from work and super tired.
Well, I mean, you're playing, but if I was just listening to the music, I think you would especially dig it just because of like the style of music you like to make. So, it's a bit of a departure because in Shadowbringers there's a lot of like heavier and like experimental stuff.
Yeah.
And this is way softer. So,
That's cool. Each game has like a different theming in the music, though.
I'm pretty sure the game has the world record for the most songs in a soundtrack. So, because they make
That's
new songs
interesting.
every expansion. So,
Yeah, it seems like there's no shortage of music in that game.
Soken's a busy boy. So,
It's cool. I respect somebody who can make a lot of diverse music.
yeah, it's pretty crazy. The fact that he actually plays instruments and stuff like that too. So,
Yeah, I love people who can just play a bunch of instruments because they get like a more well-rounded idea of how to compose.
yeah.
Even if they have other people playing, they can write all the music the way they want it because they can understand.
Well, even at the fan fest, he played guitar, but he also he played, was it 2 or 3? I can't remember. What are they called? Otomes or the weird things that like you blow into, and then it's got the buttons and it's like or whatever sounding. He was playing multiple at once, so it was really weird, but it was entertaining. How much more can I even say?
How are you liking the environments?
I mean, they're good. They're not all my taste. I'm not a big fan of the Thavnir area. It's very colorful, and by colorful I mean like bright red next to bright yellow next to bright blue, and
It's like a box of fucking crayons.
yeah, I can't handle it.
Yeah.
And I know it's supposed to be like kind of like I think like India. And I don't think it looks bad. It's just not my taste.
I think it's neat because you haven't seen something like that
Sure.
in the game. It is also not really my style, but it is refreshing compared to some of the other environments you run around in.
Yeah. The other town is like more like a ancient Greece style, I think would be a way to put it. I could be wrong. The one thing I'll give both towns though is they're both outdoor towns. So like, I guess technically some of the other ones are too, but these were like, there's a lot of like open area in between buildings and stuff like that. It feels, well, maybe not Resident Evil.
Just more open.
Yeah, they feel pretty open though. Parts of the one town are a lot of like hallways and stuff too though. So it's a pretty mixed bag on that one. Though I don't like navigating it because like one path will be down here on ground level and then there'll be a path diagonal above it as well. And I'm just like, oh, dude, I don't want to go like this all over the place. So fortunately, you can teleport around once you collect all the aetherite crystals, but I think my favorite zone so far, I haven't seen them all yet. There's 2 more left to me and I'm almost max level already. And apparently a lot more story according to the people who are ahead of me.
I saw Mr. Happy say that he really liked the finale.
I've seen nothing but people say that the last 11, 12 years have been completely worth it. So
It's awesome.
yeah. I'm looking forward to that. I keep hearing there's a bunch of twists that I'm just going to be blown away by. So
You're not ready. You're not prepared.
I already saw a couple and I was like, holy crap, we're doing this already. All right. So
Oh, and your gameplay?
yeah.
Okay. I was like, you saw spoilers, dude?
No. I
Has the story been gripping enough in the early parts of it?
so the pacing in the beginning is a little slow. I don't mind. I actually think one of my favorite things about Final Fantasy is it lets things breathe. It's just super important.
Oh, yeah.
Everything
I
feels
agree.
rushed all the time, and this game definitely is okay with like just letting you live in the world for a little bit. The moment the story does start going, though, it's immediate roller coaster. To be as vague as possible, in the 3rd zone is where I felt like the story started to take off. And there were some pretty cool moments there that I did not expect, which I always appreciate. There were bosses I was expecting. I already knew were in the game, but I was not expecting that early in the game. And then the 4th zone, the same thing happened. There was a boss there that I was just like, wow, I'm already seeing you. This is crazy. Okay. So I'm running out of things I know about, and there's still 2 zones. So they did a good job of keeping that all secret. So
There's only 2 more zones left, and there's a bunch of story still? Damn.
yeah, I mean, I just came back to a zone, but it has thematically changed completely.
How many hours would you say are you into this expansion? I know there's going to be other things you're doing in an MMO, but
I'm only doing the story right now. So, yeah, I'm not getting sidetracked at all.
I know you do, and I can relate in games that I care about the story. You're trying to get through the story so you don't have it spoiled for you.
Yeah. And so I can have a conversation. There's one person in our free company has beaten it.
Really?
Yeah, and one's almost done. So,
Damn.
can you guess who beat it?
Yeah, it's one of 2 people. I don't know if I can say their name. I don't know if they want to be mentioned or not.
The one who beat it is a community member.
Yeah.
The one who's
figured.
almost done is a longtime friend of ours.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah, this is the 2. Yeah. Sounds about right.
I think Chris probably passed me now, but I was just barely ahead of him. But he has
Chris, it's time to play it.
Yeah, in little bits here and there. He also has gotten sidetracked and played multiple things already. So,
Yeah.
I know he wanted to try out the new summoner and he ended up really liking it, so that's what he's been playing. I'm still playing White
Yeah, it
Mage.
looked cool.
Got a guy who is playing Reaper. He was playing Sam and he was doing the story, and then all of a sudden I saw him leveling Reaper. I was like, oh, couldn't finish the story. Had to play the new class. So we have someone playing Sage. They haven't necessarily said they love it or not. They've just said they are trying to get used to it. So I will be playing Sage at some point because I do play healer. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to talk because anything that I would like really want to get into would be 100% spoilers.
Yeah.
I would say I think people should play the game 100%, but right now is such a hard time to say that because the servers are so full.
Yeah, it seems like you're having to queue up every time you play the game.
Yeah, I mean, before noon PST and after 10 p.m., the queue is back to normal where it's like a 5-minute wait. It seems between like noon to 10 p.m., the servers are hammered. So, but in that other degenerate time, the servers are pretty normal. So.
What's the longest queue you've waited in so far?
5,000 people. Took about 2.5 hours. Yeah. But I played Switch the whole time, so I just played Pokemon.
Yeah, at that point I just go do something else.
Yep. That's exactly what I did.
That's what happened when New World first like launched and they're having like, you know, their fucking queue problems. I just like looked at the number like I'll be back. I just like walked off like
well, you can't walk off in Final Fantasy because you can get kicked out of queue.
Oh, interesting.
But if you log in fast enough, to put you back in line.
So, that's fair.
Yeah.
Just in case you like had to go to the bathroom or something, that makes sense.
There is a bug in the queue that I know one person's happened to where they had one person ahead of them in line. They got disconnected and got thrown in the back of the line. They were like, I'm not playing tonight.
Yeah, if you gotta wait that long,
yeah,
you're already out of time.
Yeah, it's 2 lines at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so, but yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I already knew I would, but I am happy to say that it is still managing to surprise me, and I'm still how do I word this? I don't know. It's weird because like not many games where like I sit there and I listen to people just having like basic conversations and I'm like, man, the dialogue is really good. So they really did a good job. I'm really impressed. So like I would put it up there dialogue wise to something like even like a God of War or something like that because the writing is just really good. So
it's cool to hear. Yeah, where I'm at in the game, the writing seems fine, but it feels like just an average RPG writing. But I'm sure it's gotten honed into as the stories progress.
Yeah, their craft has only gotten better and better over time.
I mean, it would have had to.
But the part you're at is funny because the first half of that expansion, though better paced than the base game, is a little. I mean, it's fine. Like, no complaints, whatever. But the second half and the patches afterwards between expansions, is probably one of the best moments in Final Fantasy XIV. So
yeah, I need to hop back in and start committing to that because I'm in the part where it's not the slog anymore, and that's where I stopped playing. So
yeah, you got to the what used to be everyone's either favorite or second favorite expansion, and that might end up switching now. So
yeah, I don't doubt that.
So. Yeah, that's it. I can't talk anymore.
Yeah,
so
and that's fair.
Yeah.
But you're liking it, and it's meeting your expectations and possibly exceeding it. And everybody is saying a lot of good things about the finale. So at least you have that to look forward to. Yeah. Anything else you want to say on that?
There's always Beastmen tribes. In Final Fantasy XIV, every expansion, there's new people to do quests for. Mm-hmm. The little bunny people are probably the cutest things I've ever seen in my life.
Have I seen them?
No.
Okay. I definitely need to see that.
They're right up there with Moogles, man. They're awesome.
That's a big claim, dude. I love Moogles.
Once I saw how tiny they were, and then they spoke, I was like, oh my god. Yeah, they're great. And funny, standing in that zone, every once in a while I'd just see a shout, and it would just say, oh my god, they're cute.
They know what they're doing, dude.
Yeah. I instantly wanted a plushie. So,
do they make them?
Not yet. I'm sure they
They
will.
will. They will for sure. Yeah. There's no fucking way you make something like that and don't sell it to people.
Yeah, they're adorable.
Yeah. Anything else?
No.
That's all you've been playing?
That's it.
All right. I'm going to try and be brief about my list because I have a bunch of games on here. I'll start at the bottom of my list. I think winter sale, Christmas sale on Steam happened. Didn't that happen?
Yes.
Yeah.
I got confused because I don't think they
Black
necessarily called
Black
it that.
Friday sale or whatever
that's
the fuck
exactly
was
what it was.
happening. Yeah. So that happened, and I was like, I need to pick up a couple games. And so I did. I picked up a game called Dismantle, which is a survival game that is your person. There's zombies. You got to scrounge around for resources, typical fare. But the game is all about you're not going to starve to death in this game. You're going to thrive. It's a game that's more designed around gameplay and fun and less about hardcore survival, which if you follow the channel regularly, you know that I love survival games. I like hardcore survival games, but every once in a while, I kind of like just playing a game for fun. This game is called Dismantle. Everything in the game, or they said 92% or something like that, of everything in the game's destructible to different degrees. You can upgrade your tools to be able to destroy more and more things, walls, cars, whatever, buildings. But yeah, you run around and you do little mini missions on a very big map. It's pretty surprising. Has co-op, but only same screen co-op, which I like but hate. Like I feel like games should have online and same screen.
Choices are good.
Or probably just online if you're going to do one of the two. Like networking might be rough for a smaller company, but you could probably do that Steam thing where you stream so somebody can interact with your game.
Controller sharing?
Yeah, well, no, it's something like that. They actually will advertise it on games that have like local multiplayer. They're like, you can Steam blah 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 this. I forgot what it's called. You guys know if you know, and if you don't, it doesn't matter. But yeah, it's pretty neat. I haven't played it a whole lot, but I have played it, and it was a cool little game that I got on sale. I probably wouldn't have bought it at full price, but it was on sale and it was recommended to me, and that's about all you got to do to get me to buy a game. On that note, there's a bunch of Devolver games that have come out in the last year, and I was like, I would like to play more games from 2021 because soon we're going to be doing our Game of the Year discussion, and it's kind of a sparse year when it comes to what to pick. I have a couple hard hitters, definitely, but then a lot of was that really a game I love that much? So I was like, yeah, they came with a bunch of games this year. I didn't play any of them, and they had this triple pack thing on Steam. I think I'm save $5, but you got 3 games with it. And in that, I got Death's Door, which I heard a bunch of great things about. Inscription, which I heard a bunch of great things about. And Loop Hero, which you said you were addicted to, which was good enough for me. So, played all 3 of those. Got all 3 of those. And just real quick, all 3 of them are really cool. So, you can't get that deal now, I don't think. But maybe you can. I don't know. But yeah, if you get a chance to get all 3 of those together, definitely do it because it's worth it. But yeah, Death's Door, I believe, is made by the people who made Titan Souls, which is that only boss fight top-down game where you have an arrow, pretty much, and if you get hit, you're dead. And all the bosses had really creative ways to fight, and you had to pretty much figure out an action puzzle, it seemed like. I think it's those people, because this game plays almost just like that, except for a little more robust. You play as a raven or something like that. And you have a sword and a bow and arrow. And there are enemies all over the map that you fight, but there's these big boss battles that are really creative and very much like Titan Souls. And it's pretty cool. The art style is cool. I think it's interesting to play as a bird. I actually like the animations of the bird fighting because you don't typically see a bird waddling around with its wings and then pulling out a sword and swinging it. Yeah, you run around, there's these doors you go into, and you go and fight bosses. I'm sure there's a really robust storyline that I didn't pay attention to, but it's pretty cool. It's probably my least favorite of the 3 games I picked up, but it is definitely cool and worth your time. I need to play it more. Then I played Inscription, which is a game that I was slightly curious about, but then I started reading reviews, and people said that it had a horror story to it, which was intriguing. Watched a couple of videos, and it doesn't really do it justice. This is a game that you should just pick up and play, even if you're not really into card games. If you hate them, you're not going to like it. But if you're open to playing a card game, I would say definitely pick it up, because there is much more of interest to this. So if you've played Slay the Spire or Monster Train or a couple other of those card games, it's pretty much the same system. You get decks, or you get cards, you have decks, and each card has an attack and a defense. And then you put them on a thing, and then they attack the cards ahead of them and break them and get them out of the way. And there's all these things to it. But the whole premise, and I don't want to talk about too much because the game does have this unfolding story that happens. You're like a captive in a cabin, and there's this creepy dude who's like teaching you how to play this card game, but he's like kind of telling you, like, you know, you better play this well though, because otherwise it ain't gonna end up good for you outside of the card game. It's like he's just like really creepy the whole time. And every time you play different games with them or whatever, there's like more and more dialogue, and it's interesting too because some of the cards, I don't even want to ruin that. It's cool, and there's a lot of like, you're able to get up out of your seat, and being as vague as possible, there's like puzzles in the cabin you can do that aren't card games. So it is like an adventure game and a card game, and I think it takes what Slay the Spire did really well in its simplicity of being easy to figure out, but also like hard to. It had something to work towards strategy wise. You get really deep into it if you wanted to. It has that same thing, but it has so much fucking flavor to it and what they're doing. And it's a Devolver game, so it's edgy, and I actually really like it. I would definitely really recommend it to most people, except for if you just really hate card games. And this is coming from somebody who's not a fan of card games. I don't really like playing them, so if that means anything, I definitely recommend it. Then Loop Hero, I had pretty much not heard much about, except for I knew that you were playing it. And you said you were playing it a lot. That came with a thing, and looking at it, I was like, man, these graphics are pretty shitty. But you got to play it to get it, I think, because as soon as I started playing it, if you don't know what Loop Hero is, essentially like the universe is like collapsed or something like that, and everybody's memories are gone or something like that, and you're trying to like regain the world's memories. Like everyone doesn't have anything. Yeah. And so the gameplay loop literally is you start a run and your character just goes around a loop on their own. You don't have any interaction with that. And when they run into enemies, they auto fight them and you just watch it happen. But as that happens, you get equipment and you start making a build for your character on this run. And then you start getting chunks of land and you start being able to put that on the map, almost like you're rebuilding the world. And there are certain things that you can put like land around to get benefits from.
You also pick your enemies.
And you pick your enemies because you put down the different types of environments on your loop. The loop's always random in my experience. If you die, you just go back to town. And they're like, hey, you're back. You got to go back out there and do it again. If you make it a full loop, you can decide to go back to town. And you lose a certain amount of things if you go too early. But if you go enough, it seems like you get to take all your stuff. And then when you go back to town, you're able to upgrade your town to get, it seems as though, permanent benefits.
I think as long as you're at the starting point and you leave, regardless of how you leave, you get 100% of the resources. But if you die, you only get to keep 30%.
Yeah, it just seemed like if you leave, like, after doing one loop, you don't keep everything.
Well, there's probably nothing to take.
Right. But yeah, this game sounds simple and is simple, but it like really it fires up all the fucking the monkey brain neurons. It like I was just like watching my character. He's killing things and getting gear and getting stronger and killing things easier and easier. But then I'm able to put more and more things on the map that present more challenge. And I can put like vampires down, and they're a little more difficult, but they have better rewards. And then you do it enough, and then a boss shows up, and you got to fight him. And it's a really easy game to just lose time with. And you're not even interacting with it that much. I put it on fast forward. I put battle at 2.5 times, and I put the game itself's movement on the loop at 4 times. And God bless it for having that. Yeah. Because so many games need a fast forward button when it's like this. especially tower defense games. Tower defense games that don't have fast forward, it's a crime against humanity. I fucking hate that shit. So when I saw there's a fast forward in this, and it's not a tower defense, but it a lot of it's just you watching.
It does kind of follow a lot of principles. So.
Yeah. As soon as I saw that fast forward, I'm like, thank you. You guys really did everything in this game. You nailed it all. But yeah, I mean, it's a solid game. If you just want like a little, like, even if you're like listening to podcasts or like you're doing something passive, maybe you're like just browsing, some website and you want just a game running, it's like perfect for that. But it's also a game that you kind of got to pay attention to as well, because your character could be, dying on their loop and you're not paying attention. So it does need interactivity, but it's a really interesting mix of just a passive game and a game that you should be involved with. But it's a lot of fun for how much you're not playing it, and although you are interacting with building the world, so that's something you need to be there for.
Yeah, one thing I like about it too is like, I didn't play it this week. I just,
You've played it though, yeah.
Like for example, if you're playing a warrior, because there are multiple classes in the game as well.
You haven't even unlocked any of the classes yet.
Mountains are usually a good option for a world piece because mountains give you more hit points. But if you put down 9 mountains in a 3x3 formation, it turns into a giant mountain.
Okay.
And then harpies start spawning off of it.
Yeah, I noticed that. I know it was a 3x3 thing, but I noticed if I put enough mountains together, I start getting those mountains, the big one, and then I'd see the little shapes flying off of them.
Yeah, it's 3x3.
Yeah.
And then also with forest, as another example, they give you attack speed, which is great for the rogue or the assassin. But the moment you put down your 10th one, and every 10th one after that, a scarecrow town will spawn on your loop.
Oh,
and if you put a farm next to that, the same way you would your villages, you get a wheat field, and it makes your hit points gained increase going through the town versus going to one of the scarecrow towns. It creates another patch where more enemies spawn on. So,
and there's items where you can like delete things off the map and stuff like that, which is nice if you are just putting down a lot of things and then things keep spawning and now you're like, I gotta get rid of this.
Yeah,
this
and like
ridiculous.
It's just interesting that you can mix and match stuff. Like there's battlegrounds, and if you mix those with vampires, you get like certain things as well. So there's just a lot of like hidden, like if you put these two things together, you get this.
Yeah, it's a really system heavy game.
Yeah,
but visually, and I think the visual, I mean the loop's simple, but like the character models, stuff like that, I think has a really cool haunting look to it. I think the music's cool too. It's a creepy game kind of, as much as it's just like a little character moving around.
It's a Devolver game.
Yeah, but I think it's, I mean, out of the, well, Inscription's pretty cool, but out of the three, I really liked it a lot. So
it's also great for watching YouTube.
Yeah, that's all I was saying. Like I just was listening to a podcast and just fucking playing. It's perfect. And sometimes when I'm editing video and exporting it, I don't like to play any like intensive games because I want the exactly, because I want Premiere to do its job well. But Loop Hero is a game that I can just throw on while it's happening, because it's like takes no resources. So definitely recommend all three of those games. But Loop Hero and Inscription are definitely worth your time. I picked up Riders Republic because Ubisoft is just really wanting to sell it for $30 everywhere. At first, it was like Best Buy's having a Black Friday sale, and like 3 weeks early, and Riders Republic is the game you can get for $30. But then everybody had that deal, like Amazon, fucking everywhere, Target. So I picked it up because it was a game that I really liked Steep, and I played the beta for Riders Republic. And I like the freeformness of it. It's like, you can just hop in and do a couple things and leave. There's not a whole lot of like heavy investment in it. So I was like, for $30, that's a good price. It's about as high as I'd want to pay for that game. And I've been playing it, and it's pretty cool so far. I mean, it's Ubisoft, so every character I hate, and the aesthetic and story are awful. But it's interesting because like Steep, I wouldn't say was a realistic or sim game, but it did try to put in the challenge of nailing tricks and riding on the terrain. This feels a lot more arcadey, which I like and don't like. I like it in the sense that it's really owning how much of a like, yeah, just hop in here and do some fucking shit for a little bit and leave. Like when you're done, like just get out. It's kind of owning that with its arcadiness. Like you don't got to think too much about how to pull off these tricks or whatever. But I do miss what felt like the challenge of riding and steep. Although there are some challenging races or events in this game. One being I was on a bike, a mountain bike, and it had like this little wooden fucking beam I had to ride up to like this Ewok village that had like jumps to. It was almost like Trials in 3D, and it was pretty fucking rough. But I like that because I like the challenge. But I've been playing it. I picked that up on PS5, oddly enough. And yeah, it's pretty cool. Kind of sucks that it looks the way it does on PS5. I was like, this could definitely run on last gen. But yeah, if you're looking for a game where you can just pick any spot on the mountain or area and just really pick what you want to ride. I mean, there's more in this than this is literally there. Even in the control scheme, there's like trickster, action, something, I think I forgot what it's called, and then steep. So they're literally like, hey, if you liked steep, this is the control scheme for steep. So it really is like steep too. They've just called it something different because steep didn't work very well. But it does feel like the spiritual successor or just the sequel to steep. Just more arcadey. They've taken away from trying to be like more realistic movements and just more like to the point, do what you want to do kind of gameplay, which is fun. It would be cool to play with people, but I don't know anybody who owns this game. And it'd be hard for me to like recommend it hard enough for people to pick it up. So if you have it, cool. If I know you, let me know. We can play together. Wait a year. It'll be on PlayStation Plus. And we'll play it then. But so far, it's cool. It's worth the $30 easily. I would say it's worth $60, definitely, if you really wanted it. But the $30 is like definitely a good price point for that. Been trying to finish Ratchet and Clank: A Rift Apart because, like I said before, and it's going to be a common theme for the next couple weeks. Our game of the month, game of the year discussions coming up soon, where we're going to pick our game of the year and 2 runner-ups that aren't quite game of the year, but things that are worth mentioning. And one of the ones I keep hearing a lot of people talking about this year was Ratchet and Clank: A Rift Apart. So I'm like, I got to beat that so I can have an honest opinion on it. And so far, I mean, it is in a year where a lot of games have come out and been big disappointments, slight disappointments, not quite what you wanted. Ratchet and Clank is just completely solid in every way. I've ran into 3 bugs, surprisingly. I got stuck in a wall. I got stuck between a platform and another platform. Like I was just jiggling there and I couldn't move. And something else happened. I forgot what happened. I threw it on Twitter. Ratchet, he was just repeating the same line over and over again, nonstop.
That's so weird.
Yeah, so
I played the game 1.5 times.
Yeah,
nothing.
I got that proof on Twitter. Also, shout out to Josh calling out Dan Stapleton on Twitter. That's a whole different thing, though. Anyway, outside of the bugs, though, it is a gorgeous game, beautiful game, Pixar-looking game, and really, really tight controls, great platforming. Really important to me, great third-person action and shooting. That's something that the prior games always felt less inclined to be. They're more of like platformers, and now this is absolutely a platformer, 100%. But it also feels like a pretty competent third-person shooter as well. So
also, the PS5 controller functionality is really good on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've played a couple games now where like you pull the trigger and it's just too much tension to the point where it's annoying to shoot. I think Ratchet and Clank had a good amount of tension.
That's the thing about that controller and what people can do with it is you could fuck that up or you can make it work. Like it really comes down to who's programming how that controller works. So
it feels really good in that game.
They did what Returnal did and used its properties to their advantage in creative ways. Yeah. Whereas like Call of Duty is just like add a lot of tension to the trigger, and I'm like, I'm turning that off right fucking now.
Realistic war game we played. as soon as I pulled the trigger, I was like, I can't do this.
Realistic horror game.
War game.
Oh, war game. Yeah. I was like, what horror game did we play?
No, war game.
Hell Let Loose.
Yeah, that does not do you any favors.
It's just lazy because people are like, wait, we can add tension, just crank it up. It'll be like a real trigger. And it's like, dude, I can't be competitive like this. Turn that off.
Yeah,
so
it slows you down.
Yeah, exactly. So and like eventually you're gonna have like people are gonna have fucking arthritis and all sorts of shit in their hands later. So what was I talking about? Oh, Ratchet and Clank. So yeah, in a year with a lot of disappointments, it's not. It's completely solid. It is a AAA game. There's plenty of content. I guess you can beat it in 8 hours. But I don't know anybody who has beaten it that quickly. You said there's like 2.5 pages of fucking guns? Because I already thought, I'm only like 36% into it. But there's already a shitload of guns. And the progression system is really fucking cool because like you upgrade your gun, but then there's sections of the tree that when you surround it, you get like a new like thing to that gun.
You get another 10 levels of New Game Plus as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's solid, especially like I said, man, in this year, you make a game and it just works, but also it's just like a solid ass game. It's like a fucking masterpiece. So I think Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart is definitely, definitely there's a conversation to be had there for game of the year for a lot of people because it's a lot of fun. I think the story's fine. I mean, it's not something I'm super into, but it's fun.
Yeah, it totally works.
But like varying, playing different characters, having customizable outfits you can put on, different helmets. They give you stats. Yeah. Having a bunch of crazy weapons. The game. This is something me and Sarah were talking about. She really nailed it. She was talking about how the pacing is like perfect because you're never feeling like you're doing this for too long. You're always moving on and doing something else new, fresh, different. And I was thinking about that. I was like, yeah, you're right. Like I never was bored.
I think it feels better than the one before it.
So. Yeah, as a person who's like always appreciated the games but never cared about them because they're just like really platformy to me, this one just feels solid. It doesn't feel like we need to make a PS5 game, just make it look nice. Like it feels like a fully fledged great evolution of the series, and it absolutely makes me want the next Ratchet and Clank, which is great because that means they fucking just gained me as a fan. I wasn't. So yeah, they've done a really good job with it. There's that bar that has all these challenges too you can do. So there's stuff to do that's not just there's all side shit you can do. It's a really solid game. It's got a lot of charm, a lot of fun and zany characters. Yeah, I mean, I absolutely recommend it if you have a PS5. It is a PS5 game to definitely get. Plus the Rift system is really neat. There's a lot of really cool visual effects in that game. Everybody's seen it in the trailers, but like grabbing the Rift and pulling the whole map to you is crazy looking.
It's kind of trippy the first time, like control wise, because it disorients you a little.
Yeah, but even like before there was like a dash, but then you turn into that weird like there's multiple of you dodging.
Oh, yeah.
It's a really cool effect. When I first got that, I'm like, that's fucking cool looking, dude.
There's a lot of movement in this game too,
and I love it. Because in a game where mobility and platforming is like the fucking game, they give you a lot of tools for movement. Yeah. And I really fucking like it a lot. So it feels great to move around that game. So yeah, it's an awesome game. And I definitely will have it beat before the end of this month. So stay tuned. See if that makes my top 3. Also have been trying to beeline through Tales of Arise, which is I guess on average 30, 40 hour RPG. You can go up to 120 if you do everything. I think I'm at like 28, 29 hours into it. So I got to be close to the end. I've been playing that. Actually, how do I say it? I thought I beat the game for a second. There's a big finale. I did that. There was a boss. I did that. And then the game goes to a black screen, says Tales of Arise. And I was like, oh, I beat it. And then I kept playing and a whole new thing started up. I'm like, the fuck's going on? So like I looked it up and there's a whole other zone with the story going on. I'm like, why'd they fake me out with that ending? Like there's like
the Rings.
There's this whole like with no story being talked about. There's this whole like anime friendship is great fucking montage that happens after it says Tales of Rise. I'm like, oh, it's gonna show the credits after that, right? Nope. Like, what was that? Like, it's so fucking confusing. But a couple things on that game. It's funny. I really like it. I'm not in love with it, which sucks. Because I feel like so far the story thinks it's bigger and crazier than it is. It's serviceable. It's good, but I think they really think they got something crazier and better than they got going on so far with the story. But that doesn't really matter too much because the soundtrack's amazing. So like even in scenes that could be better, the score really makes up for it, I guess. But I don't feel as invested in it for its story, which sucks because anybody who plays JRPGs knows you want that fucking story that really makes you care about that world. Characters are cool, but they're all cliche anime archetypes. It's an anime game, so it's not too surprising there. I do think the characters are likable, though. They've grown on me a little bit, some of them not so much. Combat has gotten way better. So in this game, you control one of your party members. You have 4 people in your party. You can play any of them at any time. They all get their own skill trees, which are these circles that have skills around them. You can complete the circles, and new circles show up all the time for these people. And you just keep, buying skills through that. Any excess party members are not in the fight, but you can use their moves as you hold like a trigger and then press up, down, left, right on the D-pad, and they come in and do their move. You command them. Yeah, so you can have more people, but you can only have 4 in the fight. As you play the game and unlock more and more skills for your characters, the combat becomes really crazy and fluid. Because at first I felt kind of stiff. I felt like I was running out of stamina a lot. I could only do like 2 moves at a time. The other characters weren't really helping that much. Except for Shion is a healer, and she, at the beginning, is able to res you and heal you, and since then she has never left my party. So I was like, you're not going anywhere, dude. I need these heals. The game's also really good about healing you nonstop. You can change their AI, which is great too. But the game's really good about healing you, which is good because Alphen, the main character, he has all these abilities that are stronger than his other abilities, but they damage him because they're these fire abilities that I guess just fuck him up. And so at first I'm like, why do I want to use, like, why does all his moves hurt him? Well, it's because Shion is a fucking healer, and there's other ones as well, and they heal you pretty regularly. So but if you run out of I forgot what's called CP, which is what you get when you rest at fires. If you start running out of that, they do their moves less and less and less in battle. So it is an incentive to keep resting and eating food to get buffs and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
So anyway, long story short, the combat system has grown into something that feels kind of crazy. I feel like I'm just juggling people and shit now, and that was not the case in the beginning. It's a very flashy game, very clean, good-looking game, vibrant. Love the way it looks. The environments are really cool. Every place you go is very different than the last. It's funny. I love everything about the game, everything, except for the story is okay. It's okay. Could be better.
Yeah, I mean, that was like Ni no Kuni, though. So I was like, this game's so fun.
Yeah.
This story doesn't matter.
Oddly, I'm not having that relationship with this. Because Ni no Kuni, I could just mindlessly play that game.
Yeah.
I just liked the way it played. And then the story was like almost non-existent. There's lore there, but like, game didn't care about it. This game is telling a big story that just doesn't mean much to me. Gotcha. So there's a lot of dialogue and cinematics that I'm sitting through, and I'm like, man, I wish I cared about this more.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Yeah. I'm hoping like towards the end, which I thought I was at, will like be something that can make me look back on and go, okay, now I appreciate it more. 'Cause sometimes a good ending can do that.
Sure, for sure.
I don't know if they're gonna do it though. So
yeah,
but everything else like is super solid. It's a great game to play. Definitely recommend it, especially if you're just looking for another JRPG to play and you don't mind anime, because I know that's a hit or miss thing for some people.
For sure. As much as I like anime games are very hit or miss. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, I think a lot of times they worry more about the visual style and less about the gameplay. So
yeah, cool factor matters.
Yeah. On that note, I want to play Scarlet Nexus. I just haven't picked it up because I haven't heard a whole lot of people talking about it. But I played the demo. It was cool. And the people who did play it really liked it. But I'm trying to prioritize right now Tales of Rise and Ratchet and Clank, getting those finished. before the end of the year. And then if I have time, maybe I'll play some Scarlet Nexus. Maybe that game was better than Tales of Rise. I don't know. Okay, and then the next 3 games I want to talk about kind of together because this was a big topic not that long ago. I'm a little late on this, but I figure I could add my views on this. So I was completely wrong this whole year about the big 3 FPSs. My original thought was I'm not going to care about Halo. It's probably going to be fine, but who cares? Battlefield 2042 is going to be amazing. It's so good looking. They're back, baby. And then Vanguard's going to be meh. It's going to be Call of Duty, but it's not going to be good Call of Duty. Well, I've played all 3 of them now. And I'm really surprised to say I refunded Battlefield 2042 in less than 2 hours. I am enjoying playing Call of Duty Vanguard. It's nothing amazing, so I was kind of right on that, but it's better than I thought it was going to be. And Halo Infinite, outside of its progression system, which is a fucking crime against humanity, gameplay-wise, is some of the most fun I've had in a first-person shooter competitively in a long time. So diving further into that, it's funny too because I told everybody I'm not buying COD this year. It's not gonna happen. Then on Black Friday it was like $40. I was like, fuck, I guess I'll just pick it up. And yeah, I haven't touched the campaign on that one yet. I've heard pretty good things about it. Josh actually was telling me he's liking it quite a bit, so that's cool to hear. It's on the Modern Warfare 2019 engine, so it's really good looking. It plays kind of like Modern Warfare 2019. It's got the whole mounting system and all that. It has crossplay, which is great, even though there's issues with that, which drive me fucking insane. So many problems with when it comes to that. I'll get like kicked, or Josh will get kicked randomly, and we got to like re-party up more often than we really need to. But yeah, this is Sledgehammer's re-entry into not only Call of Duty but also World War II Call of Duty, and this is much better than World War II. The last Call of Duty that they made, the maps are better. The guns, it's funny, the guns are not authentic to World War II, and that in one part of my brain goes like, ugh, I hate that. Why do I have all these scopes and stuff? But for the gameplay fun factor of the game, I don't care, because I have all these guns that I'm like really enjoying using, and that's what really matters. So they're kind of owning that. They're like, this is not an authentic World War II experience. This is just a fun
thematic
story that we've made up about World War II, and combat is built to be fun. And so even though, holy shit, I can't believe I'm going to say this, nerf explosions. I'm so sick of blowing up nonstop in that fucking game. Anyway, I've been playing that. Been playing multiplayer. I've been enjoying it. It's a good mindless run around shoot people game, and yeah, I wouldn't hard recommend it to people. But if you're like, I play Call of Duty typically, is Vanguard worth picking up? I'd say yeah. It's better. It's better than Cold War, even though there's people out there who think Cold War is good. So I don't know what happened to them when they were growing up, but that's weird. Yeah. So Vanguard not so bad. Battlefield 2042, man, I'm so fucking. I'm so sad that my hype for this was so high, and I know it's old at this point. Everyone kind of knows where most people are coming from when it comes to this. This game's not finished. I played it and I wasn't even like, I spent fucking $60 on this game, $70, whatever the fuck I spent on it. And it's not complete and blah, blah, blah. It's broken, blah, blah, blah. I just like played it and I was like, this is what the beta was like. They said this was a 3 or 4 month old build. That's not true. And I kind of had a feeling. I was telling people.
Or they didn't do anything.
But I think they're just lying. And the game feels incomplete. I remember, I told a bunch of people, and before it became like kind of a more wide spread thought, I started telling people that I know, I'm like, Battlefield's not good. And they're like, what? And I'm like, it's not finished. Like, it's like half the game's gone. And they're like, oh, haha, that's really? And I'm like, yeah. And then later they're like, oh, I heard a lot of bad things. I remember I told Josh, I was like, dude, this game's not finished, man. And he's just like, oh, like a month? Like maybe after a month it'll be good. I'm like, dude, like 6 months to a year. Like, this shit needs a lot of work. It's crazy. It should not have came out. Maybe you're wondering what some of my problems with it are. I'm sure you've already heard plenty about it, but it's just missing a lot of features that you're used to in Battlefield. There's no suppression mechanic. I think they fixed it by now, but like being a medic was really fucking annoying. You couldn't get people up sometimes, or their gun would drop in their body and you'd just be picking up their gun and you wouldn't be able to get them up. Combat felt like soulless. It just felt like a lot of people just kind of shooting at each other and no real strategy. People aren't playing to what used to feel like people playing their classes were doing. It just feels like crazy fucking mayhem. You guys know all the shit. Fucking the vehicles are way too powerful. Sniper rifles for a little bit there were doing more damage than rocket launchers to fucking helicopters. There's all sorts of bugs in the game. Not a lot of guns, not a lot of attachments. So anyway, when I got it, I decided to refund it. Typically, I would just wait it out, but I was like, I don't want to play this in this state. So I was like, I'm just gonna get my money back, spend on something else on Steam, and I'll come back to Battlefield when they've put work into it. I saw what they did with Battlefront 2. That was a game I completely condemned. I was like, bye. I'm not playing this ever. And then we got on PlayStation Plus. I'm like, this game's fucking solid. They made a really good game here. Like, I flipped because they did such a good job on that. And it sucks that DICE is doing this with their games now, but it literally felt, and I said the same thing about Battlefront, it felt like a fucking free-to-play game with good graphics. A couple things I really liked about Battlefield 2042 is the environments and the maps are awesome looking. They're very cool. I played the one with the stadium and the city and through the desert, and the progression of moving through that level was really fucking cool. Especially with like 128 or whatever fucking people in that map. It just felt like there was a war happening. But just no organization and no one really giving a shit about doing team dynamic stuff. And it could be argued that it's early in the game. People aren't used to their roles, but this game doesn't really incentivize playing roles because you have your heroes that you can kind of customize the way you want. So it's kind of anarchy, and that's a big complaint a lot of people have. I could really go either way with it, but I would prefer them going back to just classes because that is Battlefield. Battlefield does not need to be chasing other people's gameplay types because Battlefield, like Halo, like COD, is famous for doing what they do. Yeah. Stick with that, evolve that. When any of these people start copying from other people, it doesn't work for them. Call of Duty try to do big maps. It's awful. Like, don't do it. You don't do that. Same thing with Halo. Halo is not Call of Duty. Don't be Call of Duty.
Yeah, it's not what people want when they
exactly,
play Halo.
Exactly. And Battlefield is fucking class-based, team dynamic, big team battles, capturing territories. And this kind of has that and has some cool ideas. I do like the sectors in areas. I think it's kind of a cool thing to battle, have small wars in the overall map. It's a pretty cool idea. It's got a lot of cool ideas. It's buggy and missing shit. So I will 100% come back to this game. I'm not writing it off. I'm just disappointed in how it came out. So, but I was worried about that before it came out because I played the beta and I was like, if this is what we're getting, this ain't it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a big disappointment. I don't know a whole lot of people playing it. I don't know I guess a bunch of people dropped off too and all sorts of shit. So it's kind of a fucking mess. And then, Halo Infinite. I literally had zero fucking hype for this. We've talked about play times. We're like, dude, they're fucking free to play multiplayer, pay for campaign, which apparently people are loving. Co-ops come out later. Forge is coming out later. What the fuck? They're not even really announcing when the multiplayer's come out. They just dropped it randomly and they're like, here you go. And so it had been out for like 2 days, and I was like, it's free. Why don't I just try it? And so I downloaded it, and it's really good. It does feel like older Halo, but new. It's where Guardians felt like it was trying to be Call of Duty with a Halo skin while maintaining some of the Halo stuff. This reminds me of the old ridiculous battles I used to have in like Halo and Halo 2, but with new gadgets and a lot of new weapons. I think the last time I watched a video on all the weapons in the game, and there's like 24, 25 weapons in this, which is crazy for, in my brain, I'm like, Halo only has like 12, right? But no, it's like way more than that. Yeah, so most of the weapons are cool. They really made some of the old classic weapons really fucking powerful in this one. Combat is so nice to return to. That whole, I'm really weird about TTK and FPSs. If I have to shoot you for too long, I get annoyed, and vice versa. But Halo has always crafted its combat around having a big TTK, of having your shield and your health. You whittle down the shield so you can take the person out in some, hard hitting attack. Most people just shooting at you until they run up and crack you, or vice versa. And they've
leaping off a hill with a hammer.
The hammer in this one fucking drives me nuts. One time I was like, I'm going to touch the hammer. And I ran towards it, and over the hill, like 6 people on the other team came running over, and they all just went nuts on me. As soon as I got near it, they did not want me to touch that thing. Yeah, so far it doesn't have a whole lot of game modes, but they said they're releasing like 3 by the end of the year, so this month. SWAT is one of them, which is one of the highest requested ones. I also love SWAT, so I look forward to playing that. Really weird playing a Halo on mouse and keyboard. My whole Halo career has been on a controller, except for the original PC made Halo, which was fucking awful back in the day. I played that a little bit, and it was horrible. But yeah, I've always played Halo with a controller on Xbox, obviously. And so this one having crossplay as well. All these games have crossplay. It's great. Playing on mouse and keyboard took a little bit to get used to. I have like so much muscle memory built up in me throughout the years of playing Halo with in my hands that like a controller in my hands that it was so weird just doing this. But being able to aim was really fucking nice. But getting down, like throwing grenades, because it's fucking crucial that you're active with your grenades. Meleeing, which is crucial because in Call of Duty, most of the time I'm just shooting you, but in this, I'm hitting people all the fucking time. Just having all those things ready and mapped in a good way was a challenge at first, but I got it down. I've actually been doing pretty good in it. I got pretty quickly on ranked into the platinum range so far, and I'm rising up through that, so that's cool. The ranking is like bronze, silver, gold, platinum, something, and then onyx, I think. So there's one full tier above me, because it goes 1 through 6 in each tier, and then onyx is just one thing. So that's like you're really good. You're with everybody else who's really good. But yeah, playing ranked is a lot of fun. The maps are all really good, tight arenas that feel awesome. Halo's the only FPS that can do capture the flag still.
I've seen so many TikToks of capture the flag. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's the only game that can still pull it off. Capture the flag is like one of the original objective-based modes in FPSs, going back to like Quake and shit. And back then it was cool because it's like, oh, we have something to do other than kill each other. Nowadays it's like, you want me to go over there and grab that and bring it back? Like that's the game mode. Halo still does really well because you're running around with that flag, you're hitting people with it, you're throwing it, you got your team in there, it's all tight knit, like brawl combat. It works really well. They also have Oddball, which I fucking love Oddball. And if it was Call of Duty, I would hate playing Oddball.
I played a lot of it in Halo 3.
But in this, just having that ball and running while everybody's trying to kill you and your team's trying to kill them, and it's just like, oh fuck, I got the ball, run. It's it's funny. Nowadays when I play FPSs, I don't get super competitive anymore. I used to be really competitive. I play Call of Duty, I'm like, oh shit, yeah, I'm dead. Oh shit, I killed this guy.
And Call of Duty's popcorn. So.
Although I was doing very good in fucking Vanguard the other day. I was literally like top of the list every fucking match, and like 9 times out of 10, I was the play of the game. I was having a great fucking night. But again, I wasn't feeling competitive. I was just like, holy shit, I'm fucking wrecking people. Yeah. That's it. The only games that really make me feel like that is like Hunt Showdown. I'm like in the screen, just like, holy fuck.
I got a lot to lose in that game.
I'm like, I gotta live. But we gotta win this shit. And now Halo, I was like, and not even on purpose. I just like started like, I'm just like fucking telling me like, go, grab it. Like I'm like really getting into the competition of it, which is great to say because the progression sucks in the game. So I'm actually playing this game for the fun factor. which is weird for an FPS.
That's what Halo used to be.
Yeah, that's what anybody used to play it. It's just like the fun of it. And so they've kind of got the fun factor there because somebody was telling me it's like it takes 20 matches to get a level.
Oof.
20 matches.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah, and it's not really based off of your performance. It's like time investment.
Interesting.
Yeah. So like it's a really bad system. It's like, and some people have defended it, not a lot of people, but
I haven't heard anything good about it.
no. It's the only thing that's fucking bad about it because everything else is fucking fantastic. It just needs more game modes, more maps, but like the gameplay's fucking there. It's so much fun. But the progression sucks because all the things you unlock, like customization and stuff, is all unlocked through this battle pass. That takes 20 matches to get one level, and there's like fucking 100 levels. So you got to no life this game, and like after 1 or 2 levels, you get like one headpiece, not even a helmet, just the headpiece, and then like later you get like another piece that goes on the arm. And it's like, you know how long this is gonna take for me to get shit to make my character like everyone's character looks the fucking same. In fact, there was this meme going around for a little bit that showed originally. The Halo Infinite multiplayer like logo, and it showed a bunch of like Master Chiefs in different outfits and stuff, and then someone's like in reality, and it just showed everybody in the same outfit, like all over in the same positions, because it really is like that. Like, and I'm sure by now some people have really no-lifed it, but you gotta put time into that game to get anything from it. So that's the biggest complaint. If they can fix that, dude, this is gonna be fucking huge. This is it's a lot of fun to play. Me and Cody were playing it, and we were like getting really into it and having a lot of fun for hours. Like it felt like such a fucking breath of fresh air in FPSs again. Like, cause we don't get Halo every year, like Call of Duty, and Battlefield every like 2 years or 3 years.
Maybe that's the problem.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so they got to support this. They got to fix the progression. I don't keep the battle pass and do your fucking stupid 20 thing, whatever, but add a different progression that's match based. I don't want to have an awesome fucking round and just come out and just go burp and just like barely moves the fucking, it's like not fun. I'm like, that sucks. That kind of deflated how awesome that match was. I want to get out and it's like, fuck yeah, you did awesome. Here's a reward of some kind, because every other FPS is going to do that.
Yeah.
So it's like the one thing holding this thing back. So anyway, no hype for Halo. Played the multiplayer. It's the best of the 3, which is like I said, I was wrong in every regard except for Vanguard. It's better than I thought it was going to be, but it's still okay. But playing the multiplayer for Halo alone got me hyped for the campaign without really caring about the campaign, just because the gameplay alone made me go, well, at least the fucking campaign's gonna be fun to play, because the game feels great, plays great, the guns are awesome. And I am curious about the free form of the campaign being kind of more Far Cry-esque, because I like that formula. I know a lot of people hate that, but I like it. And Halo's always had huge maps anyway that felt kind of sandboxy, so it's not that crazy to have an open world for Halo. And I've been hearing nothing but great things, including from people who are not part of the people who want to keep access. So yeah, played all 3 of them, and regrettably only one was a disappointment. Another disappointment in 2021. This year is the year of disappointments, but you know, Vanguard is Call of Duty and Halo is awesome. Although I don't know anybody fucking playing Halo. I know like 3 people maybe, because everyone I know doesn't have an Xbox. And anyone I know on PC doesn't play competitive shooters, really. So, kind of sucks. I wish I had more people to play with. Because if I could get like a fucking team of people who are just fucking ready to get good at that game, I would love just destroying people. Because like it brought something out in me. Like Halo 2, dude, I was fucking like crazy competitive in that game. I would like I was one of those people, like somebody like, let's 1v1. I'd be like, fuck yeah, dude, let's do it. It's like bringing friends too so they can fucking watch. And then I'd wreck them. I never lost a 1v1 in Halo 2. Humble brag. Yeah, so it brought that out of me again. I'm like, fuck, I was getting like crazy playing that game. So yeah, it's awesome. I'm really enjoying it, which is awesome to be able to say because there was no hope for that at all originally. Last game I've been playing, and I'll try and keep this short, although there's some stuff to explain here, is because I brought it up and someone was like, what game? I've been playing Icarus. Icarus just came out. If you don't know what Icarus is, it is a well, it's made by Dean Rocket Hall, the guy who made the DayZ mod and started the standalone for Bohemia Interactive before he left and made Rocketworks, his own development company. And he's been working on Icarus, which is another survival game, fucking big surprise, that is sci-fi. The premise is essentially... it does all the major beats of survival games. You are going to be in a place where you got to start, grabbing bushes and hitting trees and cutting them down and getting wood, getting rocks, all that stuff that you typically do in a survival game. The thing that makes this game different, because the big thing I thought about before I played it, I was like, what do they bring to the survival genre? Because I feel like unless you're doing something really revolutionary, everybody's done it pretty well at this point. I mean, Conan Exiles is great. Ark is great. Minecraft is great. DayZ is great. Kind of. You played Minecraft?
Played Minecraft. Yeah. New update. So.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't bring that up because you're always playing Minecraft.
I forgot. So.
So there's all these great examples of survival games. So I'm like, what's the guy who like really kind of revolutionized this? Bringing to it. And so what they did with it, which is really kind of interesting, is in these games you always like you have that beginning where it's kind of rough to survive, and then you get to that point where you're like flourishing and you're like, holy shit, remember it was hard to get food and hard to do this and hard to do that. The thing that's really interesting about this game is you go on missions. You get with your friends, you play up to 8 people, and you pick a mission and you drop down on a planet. Every mission has an objective and it has a time limit. So far, it's been like 6, it seems, real days to do a mission. So I guess that means I could probably stop playing the game, come back and continue that mission. Every time you drop down, you start from square one. So you're always you're always having that experience where you got to build up from the beginning again. So it almost feels like a roguelike in that sense, but not quite. You start building up, and as you do that, you level up. And every time you level up, you get a talent point, which is essentially passive perks for your character, and then you get 3 tech points. And those tech points go into technologies. There's 4 tiers. Each tier has a shitload of technologies. There's also a shitload of perks as well for your character. So as you play the game and you're doing these temporary missions, you are getting permanent upgrades to what you can craft and what you can do with your character. So when you go on other missions later, you will be better prepared to take on those missions, which get exceedingly more hard as you go through them. There's also, when you get back to the main ship, between missions, a workshop that when you finish missions, you'll get like 100, 125, 150 of these credits. And you can spend those credits in the workshop to first craft things research things to take on missions with you. So as you play these missions, you start accruing these credits, and then you're able to buy, like a metal axe and maybe this suit, and you only get it for that mission, but you get to take it with you down, and it gives you kind of a head start on these missions. Yeah. So it has this really cool system where it's not only just a survival game to survive. There's objectives, there's things to do, and there's something that you and your team are working on. And something I really like about that is when I play survival games, a lot of times I go off on my own. I like being social. I want to go see what people are building. I want to see what they're doing. I'll help them out if they need help, and vice versa if I ask for them for help. But a lot of people want to like get together, and I I'm kind of a control freak when it comes to creating, my house or my castle or my base. And so I want to do that on my own. And so a lot of my survival experiences in games is isolation kind of for me. And in a game like DayZ, it's absolute isolation because I don't want to fucking talk to anybody. If I have to, I'll shoot them because I don't even want to find out if they're friendly or not. But in this, because you are going on that planet with the same objective as other people, and you're not going to be there forever, you're going to leave. there's no reason for me to be building up something. I mean, I still build cool bases and do some cool stuff with it, but it's less of a priority. I want to make sure that we have a safe, defendable base, home base to do our operations out of, and then go explore from there. So it's changed my mentality on how to play this game because of the way it's set up. You also have O2 that you have to replenish, water you have to replenish, and food. It's basic. It's not too complicated, which I like. I think it gets kind of ridiculous when you get into like macronutrients and shit. Like you need fiber.
Yeah.
It's too much for me. I appreciate what they're doing, and I'm sure some people fucking love that shit. It's too much for me. It's not fun. But water I think is reasonable. And food I think is reasonable. That's about it. And then the O2 is interesting. There are perks that make those go down slower. I fucking was one of the first things I started doing. Because I was like, this is one of the guaranteed ways I can die. I need to get rid of that. And so there's something on plants called oxite. You use you can literally just take oxite. You find either a node of it or it's on the ground randomly. And it's all over the place. And you can use a lot of that to refill your oxygen, but then there's tools later that you put the oxide into to get oxygen built up into a balloon, and then you can take a hit off of it, and it uses less oxide, but it's in a station, so it's kind of a thing you set up. So in a pinch, definitely just grab some oxide if you're out exploring, because again, you have to explore all over the place, and you gotta not only worry about food and water, but also your oxygen because you have a space suit on. So that's really cool. The objectives are pretty cool so far. One of the missions, there's like 3 points. You have to carry an actual like radar, and you have to plant them in those areas and do a scan. And while the scan happens, animals attack and shit. There's 3 different areas that are quite the journeys. So it does feel like you're on these adventures. And then another mission that I fucking want to rip my hair out of my head was I had to go kill this wolf. They're like, there's a predator that's been killing things on this planet. You need to track it down and kill it. And it's kind of cool because you have to go to locations where I'd been killing stuff, and you got to search the area, look for its markings, all this stuff. You get these clues. You have to do that like 3 or 4 different times. And then eventually they're like, okay, this thing only comes out at night, which sucks because this is the dude who made DayZ. So night in this game is fucking pitch black, which I love, but the challenge is horrible. And he's like, you have to find their den at night. And I'm like, that fucking sucks.
Yeah.
So we're out there with torches just looking for it and shit, and the light barely goes ahead of you. But here I thought, I'm like, it's just an animal, we're going to have to kill it. Well, it's a boss. It came out, it had a special yellow name. This crazy music started up. I was like, oh shit, this is like a thing. Yeah. We start fighting it. It's barely taking damage. And it retreats back. It came out with like 4 other wolves. And so we had to kill those things, and they're just ruthless. We shoot it a bunch of times, and it ran back into its cave, and I see its health going back up. I'm like, are you fucking serious? Oh, and it came back out, and 4 more wolves came with it. I was like, oh my God. I was like, okay, we're going to come back here during the day, and we're going to build like an enclosure and try and trap these fuckers so we can just cheese out and kill them. We did that, and it took like 4 days of trying to fucking trap these guys and kill them because they would just rip down the walls and stuff after a while. But eventually we killed him. And it was like a fucking weight was lifted off my soul. So yeah, that was really rough, but also I really enjoyed the challenge. Last thing I kind of want to mention with this game. First, I want to say, if you like survival games at all, buy this game. It's awesome. I'm really enjoying it. Also, they've been very prompt about hot fixes to try and get this game running quickly. Constantly they're transparent. They're like, this isn't working, we're working on it right now. It should be out later today. Like, they've been really great about it. But the last thing I kind of want to mention that I think is really cool, something I really haven't seen in really any survival game. The closest thing I can think of is like in Conan Exiles, the sandstorms, which are really cool. When you see them coming in, you're like, oh shit, we got to bunker down. There's weather in this game, weather systems that will happen randomly. And the game it's kind of gamified them. It goes ding, and like every time I hear that, I'm like, holy shit. I'm like looking at what the weather's gonna be like, and it's like light rain coming, and I'm like, okay. And there's a thing at the top right, and it shows the weather system kind of going through this thing. It shows like a yellow area, and then it shows red areas where the storm's gonna get bad. And so it's kind of gamified in the sense that like we gotta prep now. We know what's coming. Let's prepare for this. but it's got like a really cool wind system. So the wind will pick up, and you can actually, it's horrifying sounding. The trees are like cracking and breaking, and you can actually like see trees falling from the storm, and your house starts taking damage. But not only does it just take damage, like the health bar doesn't just go down, like pieces of like the thatch and the ceiling start falling. You see it going just falling, and then like the walls are busting in, and you're sitting there just repairing them and shit during this hurricane. And there's also like lightning storms. And when I found that, I was looking through the tech tree on the second tier, and there's a lightning rod, and I was like, why do I need that? And I was reading, it's like, so lightning doesn't hit your stuff. I'm like, cool, I need to build that.
Yeah, as soon as they became available in Minecraft, I made a couple.
Yeah. Well, there's one night me and Sarah were like bunkering down because the storm was happening, and it was fucking windy. I'm upstairs repairing the roof. She's downstairs repairing the walls. And then like every once in a while, like through the windows, you just see like flashes and shit. And I'm just like, fuck, okay, there's lightning going on. And then like we heard one go boom, like close by. And I was like, holy shit. And then my game started to lag. And I was like, what's going on? And like as the storm died down, we like open the door. It's barely dawn. It's barely light out. But across the lake, and you can see the reflection in the lake, there's just the fucking tree lines on fire. Like all the trees are just burning, and it's just like spreading. I panicked. I started fucking cutting trees down near the house. I'm like, we gotta fucking make sure this doesn't hit the house.
Yeah.
But then like there was a part where the trees separated, so it couldn't get across. But it was horrifying. And then when the fire died down, the performance got better. But I guess they fixed that. There was an issue or something. So that's one of the hot fixes that came out recently. So yeah, the weather system's really cool. It's a really dynamic thing that really keeps you on your toes. Or when you're trying to kill a fucking wolf for 4 days and random storm systems keep coming in while you're bunkering down. Our house got hit by lightning. Like we heard a and like the fucking whole building like lit up for a second, and then like the floor was just on fire, and it started spreading. And the oxidizer, the thing you put oxide in to fill the balloon, if those catch fire, they'll blow up.
Makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny too, because when I filled one of those up and I was sitting next to a fireplace, I was like, "This is real fucking safe." Putting oxygen right next to some fire, and then later, I was out doing something outside of the house, and Sarah's like, "Oh my god!" She's like, "The oxidizer just blew up," and I was like, "Really?" And I fucking came running back, and the whole corner of the house was on fire. I was like, "Oh shit!" And I started smacking it to put the fire out. I was like, "That's funny. They actually added that." Yeah, so it's there's so much more I could talk about with this game, and I'm just gonna keep playing it, and I'll report back about it. But it's a really cool idea that is it's not changing anything in the survival genre, but it is offering a new way to do survival in a more cooperative feeling way. It's not just free form. You're all surviving together. Decide how you want to do it. It's like you gotta work together. Especially with how big the tech trees are and stuff, it really benefits for someone to be specializing in medicine and like specializing in masonry, and someone being doing the house building and farming and shit like that. Like it really does feel like really leans into roles, which I really enjoy a lot. So yeah, it's been a solid experience so far, and which is great because I was like hyped. I'm like, oh dude, this guy made a fucking game again. It's awesome because I love DayZ, or loved it. But I started playing, I'm like, yeah, it's all right. It's a survival game. But then like I started getting, I'm like, wait, this is like a really fucking cool idea. So yeah, it's nice to be able to say that. And yeah, that's what I've been playing. Quick shout out. I saw that Bloons Tower Defense 6 was $2 on Steam. I almost bought it, and I was like, is that on phone? This seems like a phone game. I like tower defense games, so that's why I was even looking at it. It was free on Android, so if you have Android, it's free on there. It's the same game. Has cross progression as well. And I started playing that, and it's a solid ass tower defense game. I've played the older Bloons games, and they're not good. This one's really good. There's a shitload of towers with a shitload of upgrades and a shitload of ways to upgrade them. A lot of levels. You level up. You get points to spend into your upgrades.
It's another one that shows up on my TikTok.
It's got multiplayer and co-op, which I haven't tried yet, but I want to. And I liked it so much on my phone that I bought it for the $2 on Steam. And if you link your account, you can. And this isn't an ad for Bloons, I promise. I just thought it was solid. It's better than I thought it was going to be. It has cross progression. So like when I'm playing on my phone, when I'm at work or something, and then like when I come home, I can play. Even though I never play on my computer, I can. I just maintain my progress. It's awesome. So it's pretty cool. If you got fucking Android or, because I think it's like $5 on iOS. If you got Android, it's free and it's like super cheap on Steam. So if you like tower defense games, it's solid, which is weird because it's just monkeys shooting balloons. It's stupid, but it's fun. Do you have anything to say on Minecraft, or should we just hop into our reactions?
I barely played it. I hopped into creative to check out the new map generation. For some reason, you haven't heard though. I suppose that I just know so many people play the game. I imagine everyone already knows at this point. But Caves and Cliffs Part 2 came out, which actually added the Caves and Cliffs. I've not seen any mountains yet. I kept finding caves though, and holy crap, are they different! It is insane. I guess they also changed the way ore generates. So it used to be like if you mined at like, depth 12, you could find almost every ore in the game just by strip mining. And that's just not a thing anymore. Because there's ore at multiple different levels and depths and stuff like that now.
Yeah, you said they increased the depth of the ground so they can make bigger cave systems.
54 blocks down, and I don't remember how many up. Because they also added mountains, like real mountains.
It's funny. There's so many things you've told me about that game. I'm like, that's cool. They added that. That's cool. They added that. But you're like, they made the ground deeper. I'm like, that's fucking dope.
Yeah. So where bedrock used to be, now it's just a new type of stone called deep slate, and then that goes down, and then bedrock. So
interesting.
Yeah. And deep slate takes a little longer to mine, takes a little more durability off your stuff, and then has like 5 different appearances when you use a stone cutter on it. So it's actually really like aesthetically pleasing if you're making like sidewalks and walls and stuff like that with it. So, yeah. But if you get a chance, there's like 4 underground cave biomes that they've added.
That's cool.
And they're so big you can use the elytra and fly through them. So it's insane.
That is pretty crazy.
I can't emphasize the size. They're
I'll have to watch a video or something.
Insane. You could just boot it up and do creative and fly around yourself. So that's what I did, just to look at them.
These fucking caves, dude.
Very cool. Good time to start a new game. Anyone who plays like a single player game, or if you're thinking about making a server, they removed a lot of the overworld biomes to simplify them, but now mountains can form in every biome, because there used to just be mountain biomes, and now like if you go to a snow area, there can be a snow mountain. If you go to Badlands, there can be a huge like plateau now and stuff. So it's really cool. It's hard to explain. Check out some clips. The game is very different now. So
yeah, they really added features to it, but also I'm glad that even now they're still working on the world and how it generates. That's really cool.
Yeah, next year's update has more world changing stuff too. So
it's awesome.
Yeah. They also added blending. That's a big one.
Oh, you told me. Yeah.
Anyone who's played Minecraft in the last like forever that it's been out, every time an update comes out and it changes biomes, you'll go and the chunks that load in will shear off, and so they won't be level. Like you'll have like a forest, and all of a sudden there's ocean and a very unnatural looking just surface. They've added it out to where it like blends and makes it look natural now.
That's wild, dude. That's next level shit. Minecraft has always been that way.
Yeah, it's the first time ever. Also, seeds on Java and Bedrock more closely line up now, so you can share seeds with both versions.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, the small improvements are kind of huge. So
yeah, they've been really working on it. So
yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. That's cool though.
Yep, that's it though. I have not played like it in survival yet, so I'm kind of scared of the caves. They're fucking massive.
Sounds like it, even though they sound a lot more open, so it's not as like going down this tunnel and hopefully not falling into lava or finding some random people.
But the rule of don't dig straight down is even more true now, because you can literally be digging and then
just fall. Yeah, that's fucking scary.
I've watched a couple clips of people doing it, and they have time to scream.
So, that's fucking horrifying.
Yeah,
that's cool though. Anything else?
No.
All right, let's jump into these reactions for these videos. But before that, let me know in the comments what games have you guys been playing. What would you recommend? What do you think about Call of Duty Vanguard, Halo Infinite multiplayer, and Battlefield 2042? Are you playing any of those? Which one is your favorite of the three? Any of those you're not playing for whatever reason? What do you think about Battlefield 2042 and what's going on with that? Have you been playing Endwalker? No spoilers, please, but what do you think of it?
Please.
No spoilers. Don't do that. And but please let me know if you're enjoying it or not. I'm sure you are if you're playing it. And yeah, let me know everything you're thinking about in the comments below when it comes to games you've been playing and things you might be looking forward to in the future, near future. Let's not talk too much about too far away. All right, so we got 3 videos we're going to watch. They're all like 2 minutes a piece, so this is going to go kind of quick, but the conversation should fill it up a bit. The first one we're going to be watching is Sons of the Forest gameplay trailer. This is the most recent one. This came out on the 1st of December, so a couple days ago. For anybody who doesn't know, this is essentially The Forest 2. It's the sequel, or maybe prequel. I think it's a sequel to the original Forest, which is a survival game that's pretty solid, that is very horror-themed.
That's spoopy.
And yeah, we've reacted to the first trailer. This is a new trailer, and yeah, I've watched this, but I want to watch it again because I want to get your take on it, considering this is an indie developer, and the first Forest looked really good for the time. I think this one looks really good, but also I want to get your take on what you think of all the horror stuff. And yeah, we'll talk about it. Okay. So before we do that, any word or any thoughts on the Forest survival games, horror games, and do you play them?
I watched you play a little bit of the Forest, and as soon as I saw the people, I was like, nope.
Yeah, they'll like hide in the trees.
Not playing this.
And they'll like crawl at you and shit from across the field.
I'm not interested.
Yeah, so it's cool.
I appreciate the blending of genres, though.
Yeah, no, they did a good job with it. Especially when it came out, it was on Unity, so it's like really showed off what Unity could do at the time. That and Unreal, man, it's so weird. Unity just kind of came out. I was like, we're also really fucking usable.
Yeah.
All right, let's just watch it and we'll talk about it.
Okay.
So yeah, Sons of the Forest gameplay trailer, new, The Forest 2, 3, 2, 1, let's go.
That's wild.
Yeah, that's what I said as soon as I saw that. I was like, that's fucking crazy looking. Look at the fire. The water. It's a good looking game.
Nope.
You don't like that?
Yeah, I'm not playing this.
Weird naked people in the woods.
Ooh. That's impressive, but I don't like that either.
Look at how you can see through the water. That looks so good with the light.
Calm down, Cole.
Speaking of caves. That guy just casually hopped over the fence like, what's up, dude?
Those things are gross,
Yeah,
dude.
look at that.
Get down, son!
I don't know what's happening. I don't think a whole lot is being explained here.
I hate it. And I mean thematically.
Yeah. I'm not gonna check those out. How about that? All right. Aside from you hating it thematically, what do you think?
It is a very, very nice looking game. I am still completely blown away by the foil blanket.
Yeah, it's fun. Like everybody talks about that blanket.
It looks too real.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
Before I had watched this trailer, there was a GIF on Twitter, and someone was like, "Holy shit, this looks good." I'm like, that's Sons of the Forest. And I watched, I was like, holy shit. I mean, I think even the water effects look really good. The way the waves come in.
Yeah, for sure. It's just there's been this steady progression in the way water looks in games, though.
Yeah.
So even though I
Yeah,
definitely
100%.
appreciate
Yeah.
it.
There hasn't been a steady progression of like emergency blankets in games.
Well, cloth in general, a
It's
lot of
tough,
times
yeah.
people will find like shortcuts to fake it because
Yeah.
it is a pain in the ass. That just look. I mean, I'm still like kind of shocked when I saw that move. I was like, what the hell? So
Yeah.
otherwise the monsters or the people or whatever the fuck they are, I think they're a good blend of like being familiar because they're humanoid, but also like just being completely creepy and monstrous.
Disturbing, yeah.
Yeah, it kind of gives me like Japanese horror vibes in that regard, where they're going for that like uneasy feeling with them, but then also though definitely in the Western regard of them just being kind of gross. So it's a good blend, I think. They definitely seem scary, and I could imagine being in a cave with them is probably not a good time.
Well, even here we're seeing like how dense the foliage is. You're gonna have a claustrophobic feeling of like, are they behind this bush? Are they up that tree? Are
Yeah.
they crawling around in the grass?
Yeah, it's crazy. It kind of sucks because a lot of times some of like the best looking games usually kind of go for a horror vibe.
Yeah.
And I always am kind of bummed out because like if outside of that aspect, I'd probably play the
Well,
game.
I think a lot of survival games you'd really be into, but they're all horror based.
They're all like on
They're all
this-
gonna have a nighttime where monsters are trying to kill you.
Yeah, so it kind of bums me out. But yeah, I'm actually very impressed. Like, there's a lot of stuff in there like that's just good looking, and I expect, but then there are parts of it like the aforementioned, but also like the lighting in the caves is really good. The animations are very well done. The foliage is better than most games.
Yeah.
So they definitely give a shit.
Yeah. What was the thing about the first game? Like this reminds me of how I felt about the first game when I first saw it again, which is kind of a hard thing to do when you've released a game and try and like redo that. Like I'm looking at this game, like the first one, I'm like, that's an indie game, but you can tell these guys really fucking care. Like it's not the best looking game ever made, but there's some very impressive looking stuff here.
Doing more than the AAA
That
developers
a
are doing.
lot of AAA developers are not making animations for survival mechanics. They're just making sure that their character moves really well in gorgeous environments, but you're shooting people in third person.
Yeah.
That's what you're getting from AAA typically. And so that these people are like thinking like, oh, when you make a fire, you're gonna actually pull a fucking leaf out of your pocket, put that in the fire, cut this branch up this way, and wrap it up, and have all these animations. This game screams passion, like the first game. The first game, it felt like they got away with a lot, but they had a great idea and they had an engine that made the game look good. But this one really seems like they're trying to bring that even further, make it a more expansive experience, and really hone in on all the things that they were doing in the first game to a bigger degree. I mean, like the forest itself looks lush and dense and almost daunting. Like I'm just looking at a lot of these scenes and it's just like, wow, that's a lot of fucking trees. The base building's looking good. It seems like there's a story going on, which the first game kind of had a loose one going on in the beginning and the end, which is interesting because there's a game called Green Hell. It's a survival game and it's kind of neat, but it's one of those games where you need to like eat protein, eat fucking fruit and all that stuff like that. It's too much, but it has a story mode that you can play in co-op, which is pretty cool, and it has a beginning and end and all that shit. And that game absolutely takes after the forest, and it's like crafting and stuff. It has a very similar system, but they kind of added something interesting with adding a story mode to one of these games, and so it's
Isn't
interesting.
That underwater one like that too?
Subnautica?
Yeah.
I haven't played it enough, but
sure
I
it's
heard
story-driven.
I heard it is, and I've heard nothing but great things about it. But as soon as I was underwater, I'm like, I don't want to do this.
Yes.
Which sucks because I've never heard anyone even say it was meh. Anyway, it's interesting because like Green Hell kind of took a lot of things that the Forest did, made the game look better, and added this like story to their game, which is still kind of rare for a survival game. And then it seems like the Forest or Sons of the Forest is going to be also story heavy. Like it seems like they're kind of doing what Green Hell did.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting. It's one of my favorite things about the survival genre is it really does. It is this amalgamation of ideas to form the best survival experience. That's why the genre is still going. There's a lot of games coming out that have survival stuff. Valheim is a survival game.
I think also just the base idea of the formula of a survival game just ticks a lot of boxes for
works.
people.
Yeah, it's gratifying and the gameplay is good. You've nailed it. That's what you got to do. Fun gameplay with an experience that you are slowly feeling like you're building towards something that's benefiting you. I mean, it's, what else could be better than that? But yeah, a lot of these have horror though, and I think the Forest is probably one of the best ones when it comes to that. I think, especially for the time, the Forest had really cool horror elements. I've never seen a game like it. This one really seems like they're upping the ante on that. The monsters are very disturbing looking, but also the way they're going to be able to interact with you seem... I'm sure they're going to do a lot more than they did in the last game, and they had some really good ideas in the last game. So really excited to see that. Hoping this has multiplayer as well, because the Forest eventually they added multiplayer to it. I'm sure this will, since they've already done that with the last game.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, this is just looking like a much better, more advanced. It's kind of sad that like sometimes we get sequels to games and it feels like a small increase, and you want to play it, but like it's nothing like huge. I miss like the days where like you get a sequel and you're like when Metal Gear Solid 2 came out after Metal Gear, like Metal Gear Solid, you're like, holy shit, that's fucking the next thing. And this isn't that, but it does seem like a significant jump, which is always exciting for me to see a game make that jump. It seems like in every way. So I'm really excited for it. And I think even as somebody who's not going to play this game at all, you definitely appreciate what they're doing with this game.
Oh, yeah. I love the genre. I just can't play most of them just because of the...
They need to have a mode in this where you can turn off monsters.
Well, it's funny, too, because I'm not even necessarily opposed to the monsters as much as, like, I just don't like being put in situations where I might get jump scared. I'm not interested, so...
Yeah, well, this game's full of them.
Well, yeah, this is an extreme, obviously. But I mean, I played Ark, and you're technically being attacked in that all the time. So.
Yeah.
That's
the thing that's great about
they're not like trying to creep into the house and shit. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing that's great about when we're playing Conan Exiles is like that game's kind of built like an RPG, like an action RPG that has awesome survival mechanics. I mean, it was just fucking solid game. Love that game. And Icarus is not scary either, but I mean, it's scary when a bear attacks you, but you normally see him coming. So, but yeah, this game is definitely going like, let's scare the fuck out of people also while you're trying to survive.
For sure.
And definitely adds, I mean,
more stress.
There's already adrenaline involved with when you're like, we gotta get fucking food, we gotta like figure all this stuff out, and then they're like also like, hey, but also there's really creepy shit going on. So it's a really good formula. Yeah. It's really funny how survival and I mean, I guess survival horror's been a genre forever, but it's funny how survival and horror games just work really well together. So yeah. Anything else you want to say on that?
A fucking blanket, dude.
Yeah, that's a good looking emergency blanket. They really, I mean, look at this. They really start this thing off with this environment that looks amazing, looks great. The butterfly looks really good, and then blanket. If they're like, look at this fucking blanket.
If you put those kind of like cloth physics in a game with zero clipping, you could have the best capes ever in a video game.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, clipping's a motherfucker. Yeah. But then also realistic physics get hard because a lot of times cloth physics will just wrap around like it's made of some kind of like like thin rubber or something. It doesn't have that cloth feeling.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a hard one for sure.
So. Yeah, even the way the water has rainbow refraction from the light is really cool. Yeah. All right. Anything else?
No.
All right. Let's move on. But first, let us know in the comments what do you think of Sons of the Forest. Does this make you want to play it? Are you excited for it? Are you not excited for it? Did you play the last one? What did you think of that one? Are you into survival games? And if so, go play Icarus. And yeah. Let me know everything you're thinking about. Do you like the creepy stuff? What do you think of the fucking emergency blanket physics? Do you love them? And remember, it's an indie developer making this. And yeah, let me know everything you think about in the comments below. and scaring off people with a random head. Next video we got is Gran Turismo 7 Deep Force Raceway gameplay. This game, sadly, is kind of being shown off in a very unceremonious way, in my opinion. Some of the videos have come out and they're like talking about the photography aspect of the game, which was kind of cool because you can tell the guy who is responsible for this game, the guy who runs Polyphony, is probably rich, because he's like, when you buy really nice cars, you just want to take pictures of them. Like, they're beautiful. And I'm like, I don't have a bunch of fucking nice cars to fucking be taking pictures of, but it's still cool.
Car mates.
Yeah. Yeah. But at the very least, they've always been super passionate about cars. The people who work in Gran Turismo, like car fucking nerds. So it's still interesting to hear that perspective. But yeah, we're not really getting a whole lot of trailers, just getting these little clips. So anyway, this is gameplay of a race, and yeah, I figured it'd be interesting to kind of catch up on where Gran Turismo 7 is at. It did get delayed. It is coming on PS5 and PS4. I know it's kind of controversial for some people. And I'm really excited for it because I love Gran Turismo 7, and I've been living in a world where I've been playing Forza Horizons and loving those. So I'm like, where's Gran Turismo at? Where's my favorite racing series at?
Not coming out that fast.
Not coming out that fast. They do take their time to come out, and I really do appreciate that. But I've played like 3 Forza Horizons in the time that I played a fucking Gran Turismo. So it's about time. And I know a lot of people are out there comparing the two. I wouldn't compare Horizon with Gran Turismo. I would compare Forza with it. Yeah. So, and you can like both. That's the big thing. Like I love Gran Turismo, but Forza Horizon's also like really good. So,
Yes, play what you want to play, man.
Play them both. You like cars and racing? Why don't you play both of them? There's a couple other ones out there really good too. Like what was it, Dirt 4? That was fun. Anyway, we're gonna watch this and we'll talk about it.
Okay.
Ready?
Yep.
All right. 3, 2, 1, and go. Nope.
Not today.
YouTube's like, psych. It's weird to see the Gran Turismo UI. So interesting, like the visual style of Gran Turismo in comparison to arguably I think one of the best looking games out there right now, which is Forza Horizon 5.
Yeah.
They go for like a more like realistic look in Gran Turismo,
Yeah.
which I think is really cool looking. One thing I love about Gran Turismo, I was talking about one thing, I'm already getting on another thing. I think it's interesting that their style has always been trying to be more like realistic looking. But the thing I'm seeing here, which I expect from Gran Turismo, but I fucking love, is the actual physics of the car. Like if you notice, the cars are actually wobbling as they turn, like the body's moving. So the suspension's actually doing stuff. And even like the camera is like moving, like this guy's sitting in the car. And stuff like that makes Gran Turismo so like sim.
Yeah, for sure. It is funny because don't get me wrong, this looks good. It kind of sucks because like, this is gonna look better actually playing it on a 4K display versus watching a up-res or down-res or whatever version on YouTube. So, but I was like, because you're not getting the environments the same way you are in like in Forza Horizon.
Yeah.
They had a lot of opportunities to make a lot of stuff look really cool and in a lot of different ways, and versus like in this you see a racetrack most of the time.
Yeah.
So that being said, it looks cool. They do really do a good job, especially with the cockpit view. So if you're especially the type of person who likes using a steering wheel accessory, I think it's a really neat touch that they add to these games that a lot of games do, but it doesn't necessarily feel the same. That's a huge reason why, like when the one before the last one came out of these, that people kind of like had a fit at the the lack of that, because it's such a thing, especially for Gran Turismo.
Yeah. Look at how this white car moves when it's like, watch the gravity of the car moving around.
For sure. And yeah, that's one thing. Like you were
the
saying,
back end of the car actually moved on the suspension.
well, even when they hit the brakes there, the car wobbled forward and backward.
Yeah.
So, it is definitely, like you've said, it's a car lover's racing game. They've become harder and harder for me to play because as I've gotten older, the investment that goes into playing a game like this is high, and I don't spend that much time in a lot of games anymore. So
when Gran Turismo's come out outside of sport, which I played only a little bit when it first came out, they're like full-fledged fucking games with like a lot of cars and a lot of shit to do. So yeah, it's been real easy to play a free-form game that takes after like open world RPGs like Forza Horizon, but I haven't played like a good racing sim since Project Cars 2, I think, and that game's like the Dark Souls of racing games. It's fucking rough. But I'm very excited to play this. This is it's really there. I still have never played a racing game, a sim racer that has the same feeling of the way cars move and feel as Gran Turismo. It feels so good, like going on a corner perfectly, braking right, all that stuff. A lot of games have a lot of leeway, a lot of sliding around stuff, and like in Gran Turismo, like you really want to perfect the way you drive. They also have typically better AI, in my opinion. And so watching this, I'm seeing a lot of the things, a lot of the check marks I'm looking for, especially after Sport, which I wasn't that happy with. Knowing that we're getting a 7, an actual mainline game, it's looking like the things I want in that racing experience.
You're gonna get another level on top of that too, though, if they nail like the haptic stuff in the controller too.
Oh yeah, that'd be fucking awesome. I really hope they get kind of crazy with the vibrations and different environments and stuff that you're driving on, because that is something that a lot of games have already kind of showcased, namely the fucking Astrobot game really showcases different textures you can get in that controller that games are still fucking too scared to goddamn go all in on when it comes to that. Ratchet & Clank does a good job though.
Yes.
Has a lot of cool different vibrations going on.
It's also made for PlayStation 5 though.
I think that is the thing, is like the mainline games are all going to utilize that really well, but they don't come out all the time. So, and then any game that's coming out on all consoles, somebody's probably just like, well, the PS5 controller does this, throw something in there, see what happens. They're not developing the game with that in mind. They're not only making a PlayStation game. So
for sure. And quite quick detour, apparently there are versions of games on PC that will support the PS5's haptic stuff now. So
interesting.
Yeah. So
that's cool. That means that some PC games could.
Yeah. Like for example, this is a weird example, but Final Fantasy 14 will support PS5 controller features on PC now. So
that was interesting to see a vehicle driving across that bridge, because like Gran Turismo's always had like they have like all the great tracks that you love, but there's not like a lot going on outside of them and stuff. So it's cool to see some kind of ambient movement.
Yeah, I mean that's been not just Gran Turismo, but racing games in general, the weakest part for a lot of the sim style racers for a long time. You go by a crowd of people and they're all paper people in the stands or whatever. So
that was the thing for so long.
Yeah. So,
but
and that's really where you improve after a while, is by the details. So.
But yeah, all in all, I really like what I'm seeing. I wish we could get like some dope ass trailers, some high quality trailers of gameplay. But what I'm seeing here is a game I absolutely want to play, especially just seeing those car physics. It's just really telling me like, hey, this is Gran Turismo. It's a sim game. They get really fucking wild with every individual car and how they feel. So I'm really excited for that.
For sure.
And also a racing game that has half decent AI, which this doesn't tell me too much, but they are they're not all driving into each other and shit, which is
trying to ram each other off the road. So
my fucking preferable way of racing. I like to not like you play a game like Forza Horizon or other arcade racers and everybody's just driving into each other. And then sometimes you play a sim racer and people try to drive like that and they fucking hit a wall and it fucks them for the rest of the race. And I prefer that because in real racing, you're not driving into each other. So
Yeah.
I prefer that sim. But if you're playing an arcade game, it's all fun. So whatever. But yeah, really excited for this. Really stoked. It's looking good. It's definitely a different vibe than the racing games I've been playing lately, and that's good because I want to go back to playing a more sim racer. So really excited for this to come out. Anything else you want to say on this? Mm-mm. All right, let us know in the comments what you think of Gran Turismo 7. We think of the gameplay, the graphics, what's going on here. Do you have any hype for Gran Turismo? Do you like the series already? Are you not really big on it? Are you a Forza fan? If you are, you're wrong. Because I love Gran Turismo, although, again, the Horizon series is great. And, yeah, let me know everything you think about in the comments below. Last video we're going to watch, another 2-minute one, is Horizon Forbidden West new gameplay, PS5 4K. This was just shown off recently. I don't know where it came from. I think somebody said it came from, like, a blog or something like that, because there's no audio to this video. But the video exists, and so we're gonna watch it to see what they're doing with it. Speaking of unceremonious, fucking here's some Forbidden West. A lot of people were saying that because the embargo on Halo's reviews opened up today, they just released this, which I believe. Like somebody's probably like, man, we need to take some of the hype away. So, because that's kind of a weird coincidence. Like one of the more hyped games. What they should have done, and they're probably going to do at the Game Awards, I would fucking love if they did, God of War.
Yeah.
That would have been a real big, like, oh, Halo's doing good, here's God of War. But also just let Halo have its day. So, but anyway, this came out today, possibly in response to that. I don't know what the audio is going to be like on this one. Any thoughts on Forbidden West before we watch 2 minutes of gameplay of it?
Horizon is a funny one for me because like I really like the first one, and I am looking forward to this one 100%. But my hype level is actually pretty managed.
It's weird
for this game.
I'm in the same boat, and I really like the first one.
I honestly think it's just because I think, and at least in my head, and I want to be shown I'm wrong, but I kind of just have an expectation of what I'm going to play.
Yeah.
The story, obviously, I have no idea, but the gameplay loop, I assume, is going to be same Z plus some.
Yeah.
And which isn't a bad thing. I'm totally fine with playing it. But I just don't think it's going to like blow my socks off. Now, if it comes out and does, awesome.
Awesome, yeah.
Yeah. But I'm definitely going to be playing it. So
yeah. It's really weird because I'm a huge fan of the first game. I think it's great. I mean, outside of Aloy's dialogue sometimes coming off kind of one note, I think the story is really fucking smart and cool. The open world is awesome. The combat is dope. The whole idea of robot dinosaurs fighting them is awesome. So everything about it's great. And this game is just looking to be that plus. Better graphics, more stuff to do in combat, all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, I feel like we are going to have a very similar experience to the last game with more stuff.
Yeah.
Not a bad thing. And I'm very excited for it, but I'm not like crazy hyped. I'm more hyped for Elden Ring. I'm more hyped for God of War, which also will probably just be a lot like God of War. But God of War really surprised me. The last one.
Yeah, that had a really good story.
The story is very good.
Yeah.
The story on the lore in Horizon was very good. The way it was told was fine. It was good, but God of War was like fucking really good. So yeah, that's a big factor for me. But it is 100% a first day buy, have to play, gonna for sure be having fun playing this game. But it's really weird. If I'm being honest about it, I don't have like a fucking really strong hype.
Yeah.
I'm just like, that's gonna be a solid ass game. It's gonna be awesome. And yeah, if I play it and it's like really fucking amazing, which it could be, I was really blown away by the first game. Awesome. I'm ready for that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, when you kind of said like, your hype's managed, I'm like, mine too, kind of. It's really weird because there's some people really freaking out about this, and I feel like I should be. But I'm like, yeah, that looks great.
I also have a hard
it looks a great game.
Well, I have a hard time getting to that level anyways, just because AAA developers have shown they're willing to screw things up.
True. And they've also shown that they'll make a great visual looking game that's missing some shit.
For sure.
Or
And so like
unfinished or has bugs. Though I have no reason to believe that Guerrilla Games going to do that.
no, for sure. I'm just saying in general, when it comes to like, it takes a lot for me to have the ability to get up to be hyped. So, but I am absolutely looking forward to the game. I'm sure it'll be good. And if it's not, well, that sucks. But I'm sure it seems unlikely that it'll be bad. So.
Yeah, I'd bet on it, but I also would have bet on possibly Battlefield before I played the beta. So, yeah. All right, ready to watch this?
Yep.
All right. Again, this doesn't have audio, so these guys are gonna be playing music. I'm gonna turn it down because I don't want YouTube getting pissed about it. Although they have uploaded. So, but anyway, just video stuff. So let's watch the 3, 2, 1, and go. It looks very good.
Oh yeah.
I'm also like, it's funny because like everything in the game looks good graphically, but I'm more impressed with Aloy. Her character model is like, doesn't look like it belongs in the game. Like, but also the thing she's fighting look fantastic too. Like the character models almost look better than the game.
Yeah, definitely. And the amount of tools she seems to be, well, I guess in animations in general, are definitely much more increased.
The mobility
It's pretty wild, yeah.
is fucking crazy. She can glide now and grapple hook and go all over the place. The amount of things on her character model moving is fucking crazy. She looks like a whole, like, fucking a bush. But the gameplay looks fucking fluid.
For
Like,
sure.
it looks like you're just gonna be able to do what you want when you want, no restrictions.
It's
Looks good though.
very cool looking.
This doesn't even look fucking like gameplay to me almost. This looks like CGI, which is good.
Yeah. Again, this would be probably much different looking on like a 4K display.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, this game coming from the last game. The last game's fantastic looking.
Yeah.
This does look like a substantial upgrade graphic.
Oh yeah, big time. Especially, like you said, the character models.
That's the most impressive thing too. The environments are
Pretty insanely detailed.
yeah. Oh, earlier when Aloy like turned and looked, like her face looked like almost like a real person.
Yeah, if it wasn't for all the like the weird floaty, glidey stuff, it would look very realistic.
Yeah.
So,
Well, there's a particular scene in here somewhere that I thought she just looked really fucking good when she looked over, even underwater when it showed her face, like here. It just looks really good. The lighting on her face, everything like that. It's crazy. And all the animations, I think it's here, maybe. I was talking about, yeah, right here. Look at her face. And the lighting and stuff.
yeah.
It just is a really good character model right there. The lighting on her hair and coming around the head and stuff like that. It's really fucking fantastic looking. But then I look at the environments and they look great. But they look like any game would probably look, I think, on like a modern day console. But those character models are fucking next level. Really good looking.
Yeah, the one thing I'm really noticing, and it probably has a lot to do with, the demand for games to be running at 60 frames per second.
Yeah.
Is animations in all these like actual current gen games, I should say now, are probably the biggest thing I've noticed as an upgrade for games. The graphics are obviously better, but like animations are getting wild.
Well, it used to be like Naughty Dog was doing great animations. Now everybody's kind of doing it.
Yeah, it just makes action sequences so much more enjoyable when things are just fluid.
It's gonna be a lot better when I'm actually playing, so I know what I'm doing. Because when I'm watching this, I'm like, she's doing a lot of fucking shit.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the hell's going on right now. Like, she's jumping off, she's shooting, blowing things up, grapple hooking, and it just seems like they're just showing it all off. But I'm like, there's a lot to take in. But like, once you get it down, I feel like it's probably gonna feel like when you played like the last Spider-Man game, and once you got everything down, the way you're moving around the city and stuff like that, just kind of flowed really well.
Yeah.
And it seems like this game, the amount of moves and stuff like that, is lending itself to it. That glide move, though, seeing that used almost in like a stealth takedown, well, not almost, in a stealth takedown way, was very cool. This is also not pre-rendered. I mean, technically it is, but so set up to be cinematic though visually.
Oh yeah.
Which is obviously fine, but I'd like to just see someone just play the game
for sure. But yeah, I'm sure it'll be fun. I mean,
it's gonna be fucking solid, and it is, even though it's gonna be on PS4. And that conversation already happened pretty much. The PS5 version looks like what you're going to expect from the current gen. You want that upgrade. You want to feel like you bought a new console for a reason. This is definitely a good reason to have it.
You can definitely have a multi-gen title that has...
Well, yeah, we've had this conversation. I think a lot of people are still used to the old days where, like, if you built a game to run on both... you're going to cut some corners on the higher end version to make it run on the lower end version. But nowadays, all consoles are simplified PC, so all they have to do is build the game for PS5 and have sliders and have it instantly on PS4, recognize it's on a PS4, and turn it into PS4 mode.
Start cutting some graphics.
So it's still a PS5 game. Yeah. Unless they did, of course, at the beginning, start the development with a PS4 in mind as well. So they are making a PS4 game that also runs on PS5. But there is no reason that you couldn't have a full-fledged PS5 game and also fuck around with the graphics enough to make it run on PS4 as well.
Yeah, for sure.
The same way a lower-end PC would be playing on low and a higher-end PC would be playing on ultra. So people are just used to the old ways where it's like, man, you fucking made it run on both. It's going to suck. So I don't think they did that here. But also, it's early in the fucking console gen, so you're not going to get the biggest and best crazy-looking graphics yet. So, but these are definitely...
we're definitely going to see a huge peak of them this year, though.
Yeah, for sure. I just keep hearing people going like, "Well, it doesn't look that much better." And I'm like, yeah, a lot of the beginning of a console coming out doesn't look like a huge jump. I mean, PlayStation 2 did, but you know.
Yeah, a lot of that too comes down to the developers have to get used to making these games. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, then they got to learn to utilize the console fully
and what they can get away with and stuff. So.
Yeah, for sure. But overall, this game is looking great. It's looking solid. It's looking AAA as fuck. Like, you want to think about like a game that's made by a lot of people for a lot of money and has a lot of work put into it. This is one of those games. Like, it's one of the best examples you can think of a game that is that. A lot of people put a lot of money into something.
Wow, especially after the last game, I'm sure Sony was like, here, just make a game now.
Yeah, they really nailed with the last game. Like, I always thought these guys were like super fucking talented, but Horizon Zero Dawn was like, I was like, okay, this is it. This is where I was going. And same thing with Ghost of Tsushima. I always really appreciate what they did before, but Ghost of Tsushima was them nailing it. Okay, this is what I want from you guys. So, but yeah, this is looking awesome. The graphics are great. The gameplay is super fucking fluid. Aloy's character model is fantastic, and the action is looking fucking hyper as shit, but also like the first game, a lot of ways to go about combat, which I really like, having those options to get creative in different situations. And very excited for it. Anything you want to say on it? Left? Anything? Nothing? All right, let us know in the comments, what do you guys think of Horizon Forbidden West new gameplay? Did you notice something we didn't possibly you want to point out? Are you excited for it? Do you think it looks good? Do you think it looks great? Do you think it looks like, is this really next gen? What do you think about the PS4, PS5 thing? The conversation's kind of over, but if you have an opinion on it, of course, let us know. And Yeah. Did you play the last game? Did you like it? Did you not like it? And are you excited for God of War? Let us know everything you're thinking about in the comments below. It's that time where we reflect on prior episodes and read your comments. If you'd like your comment to be in the front of the line and for sure read, type in hashtag STLG. Otherwise, I read at random. And yeah, we reviewed Knockout City, First Class Trouble, and Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning on the Last Plus Club. So if you did not watch that episode, check it out. Or if you wanted to have a conversation over on Reddit, on the PlayStation Plus subreddit, I always have a conversation there. So check that out. And anybody who subscribed from that, welcome to the channel. We got some new subscribers. I hope you enjoy what we do here. We got a couple comments I'm going to read, and we're going to reply to them. And the first one is from Psycho Scream saying, really enjoyed Knockout City, period. It's good to hear. Totally forgot about Social Deception. I hope you mean the genre, not just in real life, because you don't need to remember that. And then lastly, he says, Kingdoms of Amalur I really liked. Kind of an aged game in its systems, but it's still great. The story so far is surprisingly pretty good. I put maybe like 40 hours into it and hardly made much progress. I made a character that is equal in all trees. Forgot the name of it, but it's fairly good so far. That's cool. First off, you really enjoyed Knockout City. We actually played together, and that was a lot of fun. You know, if you're not into social deception, or what are they called? Social deduction games, that's fair. But also as a genre, I can get how you could forget about that, considering the Among Us craze has kind of died down. So that was a quick-lived thing. And then I really was surprised as well, and I encourage anybody to go watch that episode to get the full review. But I definitely had a stronger opinion on Kingdoms of Amalur than I thought I would have. So I agree with you. I also agree with the systems haven't aged well. I think that's something that most people are going to agree with. It's absolutely a little past that point where it was like, it's kind of old. Like, no, it's definitely older systems that we don't use anymore. But luckily there's a combat system in there that's fun and other things, and a fucking expansion. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's weird.
That's weird. THQ Nordic is like doing some weird shit. They're like, hey, Titan Quest, here's an expansion for that old ass game. Darksiders 3, you guys wanted that? Here it is. Here's an expansion to fucking Kingdoms of Amalur. Like, it's like, okay.
Yeah, where are you digging out the dev kit for that?
Yeah, like where did you get, like when they bought those things up, apparently they got it all. That's kind of cool. And it's interesting. You had a character that was equal in all trees. I did not try that. I spec'd heavily into the stealth stuff, just to mostly test it. I was like, how good is this? It's not that great. But at least it has it. So, yeah, anything you want to say?
No.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. Thank you for the comment. And then we got Brosty Extro. I apologize. I don't know how to say that, but it's a name. And they said, here is a funny thing that happened to me. I had more than 60 hours of Re-Reckoning. I was loving it, but when I was playing Vanguard free weekend, my PS4 just bugged, and I was forced to reset all my things in my PS4, all the data. That fucking sucks. Oof. And that's another thing to blame Activision for.
They don't need the help.
Activision can't win, dude.
Yeah, that sucks. Hopefully you were able to reacquire those via your cloud saves, assuming you had them turned on. I feel like they're on by default, so maybe see if you can download your saves if you haven't tried already. This has been a few days at this point, so who knows. And even that, I mean, is not 100%. I just had to switch, like, buy a second Switch, and half my save data was on the cloud, and the other half wasn't, apparently. So, and it was my big games that I lost. So,
yeah, no, it's fucking rough. I luckily haven't experienced anything like that in a long time, but I definitely sympathize because, you know, us gamers, we're putting a lot of time into these fucking games, and some of them are high investment things that you've spent a lot of time and you've gotten a lot from.
Oh, yeah.
And when you don't have an option, you don't have that anymore, it's kind of deflating, to put it lightly. It's It really fucking sucks.
It's especially bad with like role-playing games because you invest time, but that time also is an actual form of progress versus like you can put time in a shooter,
Yeah.
and really you're just kind of for the most part honing your craft.
Yeah, if like a server bugged and like I didn't have my leveled character in Call of Duty, I would just probably not play it again or play it again. I wouldn't care. I
Yeah.
would, but I'd be like, that's annoying. But like 60 hours in Re-Reckoning, 60 hours is a substantial chunk.
Dialogue, that's gear choices, that's skill choices. I mean, yeah, that's rough.
All things that you took your time to think about and decide on and build towards, and then it's fucking gone. And you could do it again, but why would you want to?
It's a big reason why I have the mentality of if any game that has like important decisions, if I've had a few drinks, I don't play them.
Yeah.
Because if I screw that up because of being intoxicated, I'm just gonna be pissed at myself at that point.
I honestly won't play anything except for like an online competitive shooter if I've drank anything, because I don't want to make decisions in a game in one mindset and then go back to being sober and being like, what the fuck did I do?
Pretty much just crack out on caffeine until my body starts telling me it's bedtime. So
that's fair. Yeah, well, I sympathize. Hopefully you're able to get that data back. That is really rough and really weird that happened after the Vanguard free weekend. I also played that free weekend. I played on PC. It didn't get any issues, but that is fucking wild and really shitty. So, yeah. One of the great things about modern gaming, though, is we have cloud saving. So at least there's some ways to recover things, unless your Switch fucking craps out on you. Nintendo needs to address that.
Or New World makes you go through 23080s.
Yeah, there are still costs in gaming that are not very cool, but there's still some options. So, anything else?
I mean, we said it. Hopefully, you can get your saves back.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, it sucks. It's a really interesting story though. Like that happened. It's kind of weird. So yeah, thank you for the comment. Thank you everybody for the comments, and we'll see if you guys comment on this video, and we'll do it all again on the next Tasty Cast. But that's gonna do it for this Tasty Cast. As always, thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy this episode. Make sure to check out our other episodes. Check out our socials and streams, links down below. Check out our Discord now, linked down below. You can talk to us anytime, all the time. We're on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast platforms if you prefer to listen to us. And we have a Patreon if you'd like to support the channel more than liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. If you're brand new, and welcome to the brand new subscribers. And yeah, we'll do this all over again soon, Thursday, for Game Awards, and then probably a Tasty Cast in a couple days after that. So we'll see you guys soon. Until then, have a good one, guys, and take it easy.